New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract, because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile, we're extra ready for whatever comes our way, and extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract, because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile, we're extra ready for whatever comes our way, and extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
At DBS, you can study in Dublin City Centre or online. Choose from over 100 industry-led programmes. Programmes designed to fit your life now and help you create your future. Realise your ambitions. Apply for a full or part-time course today at dbs.ie.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Order before 12 noon and you can get your shopping delivered the very same day. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Sporgy,
the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions.
And now, here are your hosts.
Welcome to Sporgy, number 139. I'm Chris.
I'm Rich.
I'm the Iceman.
I'm still Todd. Hi.
Yes, we have Todd back to help us with the talk about the All-Star game and the essentially the midpoint of the season here in baseball, and he's going to chime in on a few other subjects.
The paint is half over, Tiger fans.
No, it's not. It's not anywhere near half over yet.
Yeah, unless they're disbanding the team after this season. Yeah, no.
They're disbanding about 3 players. That's going to make it a hell of a lot worse here in the next few months.
But yeah, and then we're going to just give you a little tease. We're going to talk, of course. We're going to have to talk about the U.S. women's soccer team because that's at the forefront of everybody's mind as we're recording this. And we might talk a little bit about our favorite subject that always brings us together and makes us agree, Colin Kaepernick. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun show. Put on your cup because you might verbally get kicked in the nuts. All right. Yeah. We're going to start it off, though, because we missed last week due to real life getting in the way of podcasting. We're going to start with the moves that are in the NBA, so I'm going to turn it over to our resident NBA expert, Iceman.
He knows a black guy.
You know what? I know 3 of them.
Wow, you got it too. Sweet.
I have. Man, I so didn't see the LA Clippers move. Did you guys see that? Did you even think that was coming?
Is PG-13 and who?
Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, not at all. Why the fuck would you team you just won a title with?
Right, and go to some place that is just trying to, at the very minimum, rebuild.
Well, all I know is that hookers and weed dealers or dispensaries in LA have got to be happy with all this influx of athlete money moving in. I'm just saying, because those 2 professions are going to be humming while these guys are on these contracts.
That's gonna be the biggest wow, I think. I did call it, everyone. This offseason for the NBA is holy shit. Everybody has moved.
Yeah?
Yeah, but you called that, but that's like saying a team from the MLB is going to win the World Series at the beginning of the season. We all knew it was going to be a clusterfuck in the offseason.
I mean,
I
but
know
that's
something about basketball. Can I ask you all a question? I know something about basketball. I saw somewhere that whoever the commissioner is, what's his name? Commissioner guy?
Adam Silver.
Yeah, didn't he say that there was like some sort of a problem with the signing period, like collusion and tampering going on before the free agency season even started? Like all these people are negotiating and making all these plans, so like the day free agency starts, they can have all of these transactions hit.
Yeah, there were some whispers about the Lakers being charged with tampering, but I don't think that happened. Or if it did, it was like a slap on the wrist, and then the news cycle moved on.
I think the NBA has a rather, and I might be wrong about this. If any of you guys know for sure, correct me. But I think they have a rather lax policy about players talking to other players, as long as it's not on the they're not doing it in an official capacity for their team.
How are all these contracts agreed to on within 2 hours of the free agency period starting then?
This is how I imagine it. Players call each other, hey man, look, the way to win a championship in the NBA these days, you got to build a super team. You got to have a big three and solid, others starting two, and then at least one off the bench. If you come here, we can do it, et cetera, et cetera. Players agree. Players tell their agents, look, I want to go there. NBA has max deals, so it makes it real simple. Certain players aren't going to take anything but a max deal. So it's just a matter of
account. There's not a lot of negotiating with contracts and length and all that stuff then. You know what you're going to get paid. If you're a top tier player, you're getting a max contract, so there's no haggling over money or anything like that.
No, yeah, the tampering that I think you were speaking of, it was LeBron was actually involved for talking to Anthony Davis. Well, first of all, they're not going to, it's their golden boy. They're not going to get him in trouble or anything, but yeah, a lot of times it's allegedly phone calls. Hey man, come play for us. What was it? What was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Didn't the Golden State starting five go visit Kevin Durant?
Yeah, the starting four took Kevin Durant to New York, sat down with him, and negotiated him coming there.
How is that not tampering?
Because they met
the free agent market already opened.
So it wasn't. So it's tampering if you do it before it's. So basically, you can't set yourself up.
Right.
Well, even there's been multiple stories about guys even at the All-Star game who they know that their team is essentially out of it or first or second round fodder at best, talking to each other about, hey, look, well, your contract's up. Where are you looking about going? Why don't we team up? If we team up, we can get so-and-so to come in also, et cetera, et cetera.
Actually, Rich, that's exactly what happened to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, let's talk about another one we didn't see coming. We knew Kevin Durant was leaving, but the Brooklyn Nets never came out of anybody's mouth.
No, I said the Philadelphia 76ers. That's where I thought he was going.
And Knicks, Lakers, those are the three teams all three of us talked about.
Poor Stephen A. Smith had a meltdown.
Oh, God, he did. Poor Knicks. Oh, Knicks.
about Durant not going to the Knicks, and it was just wow. Because he's I'm supposed to be a journalist, but I'm a fan, and I'm a fanboy out right now. And when he released that video and he was on the verge of tears, I was like, I get it, but dude, you can't do that. You're a journalist. You get paid by the four-letter network to kind of try to keep it between the lines there, but
yeah, you don't work for the New York Knicks broadcasting team. You can't be partisan.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I mean, okay, forgive me, but is it because the Nets are partially owned by Jay-Z, right?
Yeah, Sean Carter opened up that checkbook. When I want to win, motherfucker.
Well, I'm thinking there's got to be some sort of, carte blanche or something that comes with, I'm playing for Jay-Z's team. You know what I'm saying? And especially if he's part of a crew that comes there and turns that team around, and they actually win a championship before the Knicks, they're going to own New York.
Oh my God.
They're going to own New York.
Burn down.
Well, I mean, it's already been declared by all the NBA experts that you can stop with this New York is the mecca of baseball shit. And that, Madison Square Garden is, the home to whatever. They're like, nope, that's dead and over with. But
New York has been a mecca for shit in the sports world in a long fucking time.
I'm just saying,
Maybe the Yankees 20 years ago.
But you gotta remember, man. This is basketball, and people hold on to the past like they hold on to their balls. You know, I mean, when's the last time we did this a few months ago? When's the last time the Knicks won a championship? Like the 70s?
Yeah.
You know, they've made a finals like twice or once since then. You know, and I mean, one year Reggie Miller and the Pacers put the knife in their heart the year that Jordan sat out because of his gambling shit. I mean, because his daddy died. So I mean, you know, it's like, and besides, man, New York Knicks they do have that fan base it's kind of like the Lakers, except for they don't have the championships. Spike Lee sits courtside. If you're from the East Coast, it's the place to be seen. I'm just saying, it seems like this is a not so subtle move to go, look, Knicks fans who are diehard Knicks fans, you're never leaving, whatever, fuck you. But I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, hey, look, if you really don't have a team, let us be your New York basketball team now. And we got the players to back it up.
Yeah, because not only do they have KD, they have Irving. They have Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, someone who hasn't played a full season of basketball in 2 years. It's going to be a great addition for him.
Right. But now here's the thing. I was thinking about this. As much as I didn't see it, and as much as it's a big hoopla for Brooklyn, it's just it, Chris. You got two players that, I'm not going to say they're past their prime, but they are injury prone.
Yeah, Durant there's no doubt about it. He is not playing next year. And Kyrie Irving is probably, my guess, is going to be the ghost of Kyrie Irving at this point. So, I mean, is this a move for, is this, I think I'm going to answer my own question. This is probably a long-term move, right? This isn't set up to win next year. This is set up to win in a couple of years.
I think it's set up to sell a lot of jerseys this year and to hopefully start winning after this next season.
This is a butt-in-the-seats move. That's what this is.
This is Blake Griffin to Detroit?
That's what that is. This is Dwayne Wade to Chicago.
Yeah, but we do give Blake Griffin some shit because, this isn't Lob City Blake Griffin, but he did have a pretty damn good year on a team that was a 500 team. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been in the playoffs without him.
Yeah, we keep forgetting they made the playoffs. I mean, granted, they were the 8th seed and pretty much got chewed up and spit out by Toronto. Or no, it was Milwaukee. But still, they went from being, a pile of shit to making the playoffs in one season. I mean, that's something, right?
And I mean, if you're part of the Pistons organization, you ain't been shit since you got rid of Chauncey for Iverson. And even that, Iverson, it kills me because that's probably my favorite basketball player of all time. And when he came here, he had no interest in being here, and he had no interest in essentially playing except for anything at the fucking, unless it was at the blackjack table.
I was saying, I heard he had interest in the casino.
Yeah. That's about it. So, but, I mean, Detroit, hey, they went out and they picked up Derrick Rose. I don't know what the fuck they think that's going to do.
Yeah. You know how I feel about Derrick Rose. You might as well have picked up nobody.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm going back home. I'm going to sit with the Detroit Pistons for a while just so I can get a shot at his wife.
Well, I heard she's down for that.
I want my turn. Happen. That's all I'm saying.
You want your turn. You're sloppy 48s.
Why do you want to go after? You should at least want to go first, Ice.
First, he shared her with his whole team.
Hey, we all grew up in this time period. We know how the song goes. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none, okay? So
I'm just saying, I'm going to be a homie.
Yeah, I heard Men's Warehouse is having a sale on Derrick Rose playoff jerseys.
Yeah, buy one, get one half off. Yeah. Get 2 brand new suits. Yeah. I mean, the rumor going around in the local sports stations here, and apparently for the last couple of days, has been Westbrook to the Pistons. Of course, everyone goes, does that make the Pistons a contender in the East, or at least put them in the top 4 for seeding in the playoffs? And I'm like, wow, you're expecting a lot out of Blake Griffin, who had a career year when no one was expecting it. Derrick Rose, who if he farts too hard, apparently breaks his fucking femur. And Westbrook,
Oklahoma City ain't been shit since Durant left. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Oklahoma City ain't got shit on King Kong. So yeah,
they went from being in the playoff conversation every year to an also ran. So if Westbrook comes here, Russell Westbrook 5 years ago, I might be a little bit more excited.
Well,
Russell Westbrook's a ball hog. That's why Kevin Durant left.
Well, dude, we've been criticizing a lot of the Detroit teams the last couple seasons for just not doing shit, for sitting still, not making moves. You know, I mean, the Blake Griffin move was a Stan Van Gundy move, which ultimately was like, you know, one last middle finger to the city, it seemed like, before he left. But, I mean, we can agree if they made the playoffs, it kind of worked out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they did more than they did before they had them. And isn't that the point? Forward progress?
Well, yeah, but I'm gonna give them credit for at least moving, but I ain't giving them too much credit because it's like Chris always says with the Lions, they pick up everybody else's trash. People that are big names that used to be something a long time ago. Haloti Ngata looking at you. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're big names 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they have a bad habit of, you know, who had the best comeback season in Detroit sports this year? Eric Ebron. So, you know.
Sing.
What's that tell you? He just did it in Indiana. Oops. Or Indianapolis. So, yeah.
The touchdown machine. We used to call him that ironically.
But we're the, like, what's that, the farm system for all the other professional sports teams. Because we did that same thing with baseball. I mean, the Tigers have just amazing Hall of Fame players. They release them, and that's when they become the Hall of Fame players.
Mm-hmm. Who are they? Who are these players from whence you speak? I know of one.
David Wells?
No. I know of John Smoltz is the only one that I know of. Who else is the Hall of Fame player that they've released? They had to trade Verlander because of the contract problem.
Oh, you're talking about...
He left. They offered him a contract. He chose to leave.
They had to move Verlander.
Yeah.
They had to. They couldn't keep him through a rebuild.
They could have kept him. He almost stayed anyway. But they haven't. I understand what you're saying. There are a lot of players around like MLB that the Tigers had, like Eugenio Suarez down in Cincinnati. Turned into a really good ball player. Thanks, Alfredo Simon. But who are these other? The point of contention I have is who are these Hall of Fame players that were in Detroit and then moved on to other teams and then became Hall of Famers?
Yeah, it's probably just a matter of opinion at this point, Todd.
No.
Well, you're talking about future Hall of Famers, dude.
Yeah.
Who are these Hall of Fame players? Who can it even be said that it's a matter of opinion will be a Hall of Fame player beyond Scherzer and Verlander who left because of economics?
Martinez.
You're jumping the gun a bit, bud.
I hope you stretched before you did that mental leap of gymnastics. Like pull something.
He does that for another 10 years. You might be able to talk about him. He's done a really good. Don't laugh too hard because he's got to do this for another 8 years or 9-10 years. But he's right now the way he's performing, he's a Hall of Fame caliber player.
All right. Well, how about this? The Detroit Tigers have a lot of players that when they leave
NBA
Detroit,
free agency, the subject we were on.
when they leave Detroit, go and win championships. How's that?
A squirrel ran by you, and your short attention span ran right with it.
No, because I'm saying that's the same thing that happens with all of the hockey team, the baseball team, the basketball team, all of it. And then at the end of the day, the Pistons get people that haven't been like really, really awesome.
What kind of weak titty bullshit bait is that you ain't even going to put a worm on the hook and say the hockey team, knowing damn well the Red Wings didn't let any Hall of Fame players go.
Oh, no, they did not.
No, they fucking either retired here or they signed a fucking 1-year contract to retire with the team that they got famous with, a.k.a. Mike Modano. Fucking, they brought Brett Hall here. Brett Hall was already going to the Hall of Fame. Same with Luc Robitaille. Same with Dominik Hasek.
They spent a decade and a half doing that, bringing in all these Hall of Fame players to the team. Plus, they weren't moving on from the team.
Plus, they had a core of Hall of Fame players that retired with the team, spent their entire career with the team. You know,
the Red Wings were the Yankees, man, for a long time. That was the team, the destination team where people wanted to go, and they made it happen.
Oh, trust me, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the infamous story is when Shanny got traded from the Hartford Whalers. Well, no, he actually, they had switched him, they had moved from Hartford to Carolina, became the Hurricanes that season. It was like 10 games into the season or something. He got traded, and they sent the private jet, the Red Wings private jet, to pick him up. He was like taking glasses that had Red Wings stuff on it and like putting it in his bag because he was like, I didn't know how long I was going to stay, and I wanted to like, it's the Red Wings, man. I wanted proof I was here, you know. But well, anyways, all right. So, any other moves that you guys talk about in the NBA?
The worst kept secret in the world: Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and Boogie Cousins as well.
Yep, Cousins went down there.
Now, did Cousins sign a 1-year contract?
I didn't see the contract. I just heard that's where he landed.
Because I know that some of these contracts are, max contracts, but then there's other players that have signed shorter-term contracts. Seems like they want to give themselves wiggle room. We'll give this super team thing a try. If it doesn't work, deuces, 2-1s pimping. See you later.
That means peace.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unlike you, most of our listeners have an IQ above room temperature. I think they could figure it out. So, asshole. Don't explain my shit like it's one of your jokes. People get my shit. But no, seriously. I mean, any other moves that made you go, what the fuck? Or,
well, other than Detroit, the other destination I heard for Westbrook was Miami Heat, and he seemed interested in that trade, but there's nobody in Miami anymore either.
Yeah, but here's one thing. If they're willing to give him as much money as they can via the CBA, he's not going to pay one dime of state tax in Florida. Where he's going to come here, he's going to pay city tax, state tax, and federal tax if he plays for the Pistons. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but if he's just going for some money, that is rather big deal. I mean, that's what? City tax is, what is it, Chris? 2.5%?
I don't know. I just know I get most of it back. I only work in Detroit 6 months out of the year, technically. But yeah, no, it's enough to notice.
Yeah.
Every time I see something fucked up in the city of Detroit, I'm like, hey, cool, thanks. I'll help pay for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the Warriors also just waived Sean Livingston.
Cool.
I would love to have Sean Livingston on the Pistons.
He's
a Chauncey Billups if I ever seen it.
So wait a minute. You're saying you feel like he could come in and basically anchor a new Pistons team that can make some deep runs over a couple seasons?
100%.
Because I mean, Chauncey was the. I mean, they might have not declared him the leader, but I mean, the story of when he found out he was traded to Denver is legendary here in Detroit sports because the entire team congregated in his fucking hotel room, and all these tough-ass NBA guys, including Rasheed Wallace, were in fucking tears because they were like...
And Ben Wallace, yeah.
And they're like, they're breaking up the Beatles, man. They can't do this,
Yeah, yes, I feel Sean Livingston is that caliber of player. I 100% do.
All right, mark it down. July 10th, 2019.
He was the backup for Curry when Curry came out of the game.
So you're thinking he's one of those players that's played second fiddle. If he has a chance to be the number one guy, he's going to step up?
Absolutely.
Then how come no other team has had this feeling about him?
He just got waived 7 hours ago.
Yeah, but before. If he is such this breakout player, why haven't teams been busting down his door in free agency? Hey, come anchor my team.
Well, look at all the free agents that were available. He's an all-star. He's not a superstar. But he has that chance to become
just shit on your own point.
No, he has the chance to become a superstar. Dude, he played a game among giants. Dude, he played with the best starting five in NBA for 5 years.
I kind of agree with him, man. In fact, I'm not even going to say kind of. If he is that caliber of player, playing second fiddle to those guys out in Golden State, that's playing second fiddle to the cream of the crop at this time. You know what I'm saying? It's just some guys are built to be number 2s or number 6 guys coming off the bench, and they can't handle the pressure of being a number 1. I mean, we've seen it with athletes who we thought were going to just dominate going to a team it's a high-profile team or a major market team, and they get there and they just wilt under the pressure.
So
I would be
33-year-old point guard is going to save the Pistons, huh?
Save him? No, I just think he could anchor him. I really do.
He's been in the league since 2004.
No, I think he would definitely be a great addition.
All right. Like I said,
another move I didn't see coming was Amari Spellman going to the Warriors. Holy shit. He came out of Atlanta out of nowhere.
Okay, we should move on. You're bringing up like second-tier dudes now, man.
Oh, come on. Amari Spellman is not a second-tier dude.
Really? I didn't hear his name till fucking right now. So how first-tier is he?
That's like, oh my God, did you hear that Zach Zenner is on the practice squad for the Jaguars? Oh my God.
Zach Zenner better still be on the Lions, I'm just saying.
Is he the white running back guy?
Yes, it's the only
like
reason.
South Dakota or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I like him.
See, yeah, there we go. I was going to say, and the only reason anyone likes him is because he's a white guy playing a traditional black guy fucking position.
He looked all right when he got a chance to play. Honestly, I don't know a lot about football, so I'm not going to tell you. But he looked all right from what I saw last year.
He's like a smaller all-star looking guy.
Yeah,
he'd rather hit you than run around.
A lot smaller.
Well, I mean, look, Bucks are my favorite team. When I got into pro football, I was living in Florida. My friends got me into pro football because I grew up here. Why would I get into pro football? Because we don't have a pro football team. We have a AAA team. But anyways, Allstott in that defense. I mean, Allstott's my favorite player on that team. But I mean, that team was stacked. And of course, everyone would go, the only reason you like Mike Allstott's because he's a white guy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. So when I had a Cadillac Williams jersey and a Sapp jersey and a Derek Brooks jersey, I guess the only reason I like them is because they're black, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just spreading the hate that was sent my way, just putting it on the toast,
You're still the third person in my life who's ever said they're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Hey, man.
And the third person ever that I've heard say that, like physically to me.
When I started watching them, they were the creamsicle yucks. Lynch had been there for a bit. Sapp fell to him because he failed a couple drug tests coming out of the U. And Brooks, they picked up Brooks in that same draft. And I had no idea that Sapp and Brooks were going to go on to become fucking Hall of Famers. John Lynch that was just, for a white boy, as Warren Sapp said, for a white boy who grew up and turned 18 and had a choice between a blue and red BMW, he hits you like he's angry, like he grew up poor. It's like, that's a hitting white boy right there. So, I mean, I knew Lynch was going to be something, but, I mean, yeah, that... And then they went to the better looking uniforms and of course turned into the Tampa Bay Bucks we remember in the late 90s and early 2000s, and everyone accused me of jumping on the bandwagon. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Because if I was a bandwagon jumper, I'd have been wearing Honolulu blue and silver when Barry was fucking on the Lions, but I didn't give a fuck at that point in time about football. But I digress. So
now that we've used a football conversation to wrap up NBA free agency,
of course,
let's move to women's soccer.
It's
next logical step.
A good thing none of us are cartographers. That's all I'm going to say. Our maps would be fucked.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
They always say you should seize the day. That's today, not a week next Tuesday. So if you've been dreaming of a new car, upgrading your house, or a wedding that'll wow Instagram, now's the time. And if you've a great credit score, Avantcard's offering Ireland's lowest rate on loans over 20k. Dream big, live now. Apply today at avantcard.ie.
Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. New applications only. Info correct 10th of July 2019. Source ccpc.ie. Avantcard Act. Trading as Avantcard is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Or with our free click and collect service, you can pick it up in store, packed and ready to go. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
All right. Well, the weekly three, or we try to do weekly shows. We've all had our say to a certain extent about the U.S. women's soccer team. So I feel like it's only fair to give our guest first say about what. Oh. I'm sorry.
Walk that plank, Buccaneer. I got you. All right.
let me put the kid gloves on. Hold on a second. I got to dig them out. I didn't realize we were doing unregimented. Sorry. Hold on. All right. So
I'll go first. I'm a fan. I'm still a fan. I've been a fan.
Stop pretending to like soccer. Stop pretending to like soccer.
I've never pretended to like soccer. I love the women's soccer.
Really? All right. Tell me when they play other than the World Cup. Tell me what other tournaments they play.
I have followed the U.S. and I said U.S. women's soccer team. I didn't say the U.S. women's soccer team. I have followed them since Mia Hamm.
I liked her. Omar Garcia-Parra's wife. Remember that?
You are fucking lying. You're saying you have followed the U.S. women's soccer team for like 20, 25 years? Call them bullshit on that.
You can call bullshit if you want. I have followed them. I have. I
watched you in 2002.
Shut up. I watched the story on Mia Hamm, and I was like, really? And then I dug into some information about the women's soccer team, and I'm like, holy shit, they're badass.
Wait a minute. Are you using euphemism, like the follow as a euphemism for masturbate to, and follow as in dig up like bikini shots of these girls?
Yeah.
Woohoo! He digs it out.
This is honest, folks.
The real motivation. I'm fucking Perry Mason, man. I swear to God.
Oh, well, at least he's honest.
I'm with you, Chris. Let's just stop pretending to give two shits about the JV team. It's like watching the Special Olympics. And as far as I'm concerned, I hate this because I'm trying to re-embrace like a sense of patriotism, like just simple, basic patriotism, right? And I could not bring myself to root for that team at all. I was rooting for the Dutch. I was rooting for the English. Did they play France? No, who did they play before England?
They played France.
Yeah, it was France. And they lost me when they were up like 12-0 against Taiwan. And they're dancing around and doing these little stupid fucking celebrations like they just, I don't know, knocked off Mia Hamm's team or something.
Okay.
That's when they lost me.
Hold on, time out, because I will defend them on this point, not for the celebrations, But if you're trying to tell me that they shouldn't have ran up the score in a tournament where total goals count towards moving on,
at all.
Okay. I just want to make sure. If it's about the celebrations, cool.
Yeah.
But also, I'm kind of from the U school of football and celebrating. You don't want me celebrating? Don't let me score.
I'm fine with that. I personally appreciate the Barry Sanders tact on this. Act like you've been there before and you're going back.
No, and I dig that too.
Yeah. And my thing was not necessarily the celebration so much. Okay, I get that. It's a new era in sports. We're having this discussion in baseball, too, about excessive celebration on home run trots and all this other shit. Well, what the fuck ever. What lost me was, it's not fair. There's a double standard here. Why are you complaining about us, but you're not complaining about the... People are complaining about the men and excessive celebration. Yeah. Have taunting rules in football or basketball, right? Or both.
Well, Todd, we all know what that is. That's...
Yeah.
That's
we do, and that's why they lost me.
That's getting social equity through victimhood points.
Yeah, when we initially talked about it, I said, you want to be treated like the men? Welcome, because this is how the men get treated.
Exactly.
How much shit did Terrell Owens get? Yet Terrell Owens, if you look at his stats-wise, he's the second greatest wide receiver in the history of the NFL behind Jerry Rice. So
Just
let Terrell Owens celebrate.
Do not cry to me about double standards. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. And then this equal pay shit that we're hearing this week. There's a couple of different ways to look at this. We talked about, you guys have the figures as far as revenue goes for the men's soccer team and the women's soccer team, right? If you want to be paid on an equal level, hey, make as much money, or you know what, you can try this, blue hair. Maybe try to make the men's team. I'm sure they'd let you on that team if you were good enough. This is what happens when you're the JV team. You don't get as much exposure. You're not as profitable because people want to see the best competition more than they want to see some version of the special fucking Olympics.
Here's the problem with that, Todd. You can't name me two people off the men's soccer team.
I don't give a fuck about soccer.
So they generate more money. That's what it's about.
You can name a lot of players off of the women's soccer team.
That doesn't generate money.
I can name two. I can't even name Blue Hair's first name. Rapinoe, is that her last name? And I know the hot chick, Alex Morgan, right? Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I don't know any of these players.
Yes, Lord. I'd like to sexually disappoint the fuck out of her for about 15 seconds.
I have no image of anything Alex Morgan's ever done on a soccer field in my head. I've seen her bikini pictures online.
Well, I got
That's
that.
Why
but
I like Alex Morgan.
You also. If I say Brandy Chastain, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, is that even this team? Yeah, and she's the one that ripped her shirt off after she scored a goal, right?
And I'm just talking women's soccer, period. Hope
That's not soccer. That's ripping your shirt off after you score a goal. That's like exhibitionism. That's not soccer.
Hey, Ice, if these people are so famous, why aren't the stands full? Why don't they generate more revenue than the men's team if they're so famous?
I would dare to say the U.S. men's soccer team doesn't generate that much money.
Well, let's find out.
What's your source?
We have an
your
internet
opinion?
terminal in front of
mine's
all
based
of us.
in fact.
I'm just spitballing my opinion. If the people are going to the men's soccer team game, they're not there for the men's U.S. soccer team. They're there for whoever the fuck they're playing. I just proved it. There's three guys here, and ain't one of y'all know two people off the men's soccer team. I named three fucking names off the women's soccer team. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Because the men aren't taking asses out of themselves. The men aren't out there clamoring for equal pay, and they're not clamoring, whining and crying because there's a double fucking standard. Had these women not been out there whining and crying like if they're on their menstrual cycle after every fucking game, I wouldn't know their names either. It's a plain, simple fact. I didn't watch any of that shit other than Alex Morgan. I saw a picture of her, and I'm like, holy crap, she's hot. I want to see pictures of her. I want to find out who that is. Other than that, I would not know any of these other women's names. The only reason I know their names is because they run their fucking mouths, not because of any athletic skill.
Okay, so...
By the way, Ice, an article from Forbes from March this year, the Women's World Cup brought in almost $73 million. I gave them $100 million extra credit, of which the players got 13%. The 2010 Men's World Cup in South Africa made almost $4 billion, of which 9% went to the players. So technically, the men are making 4% less if you want to go by percentages.
That's what I saw. That's the article that I saw.
And
that's
see,
exactly the article I saw or heard about.
And that's the fair way to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all know it's not about fair at this point. We know what it's about. This is, as Todd, you so aptly coined, this isn't about SJWs. This is about social vengeance warriors.
Exactly.
These are people not only wanting equality of outcome, but they want a better outcome because they go, I'm a traditionally oppressed person.
They want reparations.
Exactly. Now, I totally agree. The percentage should be the same. Now, the problem is that if these women fight for that, they're going to end up getting 9% like the men do.
Yeah.
Which is the problem with equality of outcome. It drags everybody down to the lowest common denominator as quick as possible. Because the people at the top aren't going to give up any more money if they don't have to. Those people that are making the profits are going to want to keep maximizing their profits no matter what. So it seems to me the problem should be, or the problem is, they have an issue with getting asses in the seats and people to tune in and watch them. Now, the best way to handle that is not going about shaming people into trying to watch you and saying, oh, this is because ESPN doesn't cover us. Bullshit. ESPN has ESPNW, which is an entire channel devoted to women's sports. Okay? I would love to see the ratings on that versus the World Series of Poker reruns.
And people who say that can get fucked, because I've probably heard more about the Women's World Cup in the last week than I have about the All-Star Game.
You hear more about women's everything these days. If this was a normal society, it would just be another soccer tournament. But it's got to be pimped and it's got to be promoted. It's got to be shoved up everybody's asshole because of the social climate, because of the social vengeance warrior climate. Oh, we need to promote this. We need to elevate this and put it in front of more people because oppression or because equality or because Arya Stark is a fucking heroine or I don't know why.
Well, I'm not gonna say equality in pay, and I'm not gonna say women deserve what men get, all that good shit. I'm not saying that at all. Here's what I'm saying: the product on the field that the women soccer players have put on.
No, it's not. It's not better. It's not better. It's like watching the men's game in slow-mo. Fuck you.
No.
Watch a men's game, watch a women's game. The men is like, it's like watching a women's game on fast forward. You cannot be making this argument.
The end product that is put on the field, the men aren't even close to the women.
Yeah, you're right. They're better. They're faster.
They're not.
Crap. Why aren't these women playing on the men's team then? Why is there a separate lower division? Women. Yeah, right. Inferior athletically to men. Or if they weren't, I know people are, I can feel buttholes tightening out there right now as I speak. And if they weren't inferior athletically to men, they wouldn't have a separate division. You're going to want the best athlete on the field.
What I'm saying is back to back, the U.S. women have won 2 World Cups. When was the last U.S. men's World Cup victory?
Look at this shit. You're talking apples and oranges.
How am I talking apples and oranges?
It's not about winning, it's about revenue. It's about revenue. It's welcome to sports.
I'm talking same sport, same outcome.
It's not same. All right.
What?
You're off the reservation, dude. I don't even know what you're talking about now.
So I hear you talking that winning, if the Erie Seawolves run out and win the Eastern League title, that's the same as winning the World Series.
The Men's World Cup, last time the U.S. men won. When?
It's irrelevant.
I don't know, nor do I care.
They generate more money. That's what this is about. Yeah. It ain't about winning. It ain't about notoriety. It's about who makes more money.
And I promise, it's not
$4 billion is greater than 73 million.
This isn't a matter of opinion. This is not a matter of opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter here because there are numbers involved.
Okay, hold on a sec. Let's hold on a sec here because I'm about to introduce something that I know that a lot of people overlook, but this is just a fact of the media today. Video games are a huge source of revenue.
Thank God FIFA, for those motherfuckers too. Oh God.
FIFA is one of the biggest video games in the world, even though it's not. And it does. Here's the thing. FIFA will sell in the top 25 every year in the U.S., but it sells in like the top 3 or 4 in the rest of the world. Yeah. FIFA 19, the last one that came out, added 10 women's national teams as part of its World Cup update. All right. Now, if that's the case, then I think eventually, see, that's how you get more people interested in the women's side of the sport. you put shit like that in there because I'll tell you this right now. One of the first video games was that put in the World Baseball Classic. The first year in 2006 when the World Baseball Classic came out was the 2K series. And I don't even think the show was around in 2006. Was it, Todd?
Boy. It was right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was in its infancy. But I remember playing through the tournament in that because you could play it just, I mean, in you know, obviously it's a video game. You could play it as the tournament was with the, you know, the teams in the same pool, or you could mix them up, et cetera, et cetera. And I had a blast playing it. And it actually got me to watch the first game of the 2006, the inaugural World Baseball Classic, in the middle of the night, early morning. Like, I stayed up and watched that shit, and even the ex-wife stayed up and watched it with me. All right. Why? Because she'd seen me play the fucking video game. It sparked her interest. Now, ultimately, she's not a huge baseball fan, so her interest waned as the games went on, but it sparked an interest. There are other ways to spark interest in getting people to watch your product versus just going, well, we're not put in front of enough people. That's just not true. Some things don't ring, people don't latch on to. I love the NHL. You guys know this. As far as my opinion goes, my favorite sport is hockey. End of story. Baseball second. You know, and baseball and football 1A, 1B. But when ESPN put baseball games on or hockey games on, they were getting smoked by strongman competitions in the ratings. When NBC puts hockey games on, even playoff games, Stanley Cup Game 1, Game 7s, Stanley Cup Finals, they get smoked in the ratings. So as a consequence, the players' salaries just aren't there like they are in baseball and basketball. And football salaries are kept artificially low, but that's a conversation for another day. All right. So if we're arguing about if Ice, your argument is the women have such a good product, then your argument should be how do they get their product in front of more eyes, and how do they make themselves more marketable to people who would otherwise just go, yeah, that's nice that they win a lot, but I don't give a fuck.
G-string.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. You say that, and
I'm not kidding.
No, you're absolutely right. Yes, and somewhere, some male feminist who's listening to this show, why he is, I don't know. Like you said, his butthole just clenched up so tight that his furry friend can't get his dick in it tonight. But I'm gonna tell you the fucking truth. The men, I know so many women who watch men's sports because they think a player's hot. My ex-wife became a Detroit Lions fan based on one head coach, Steve Mariucci.
His baby blues.
Yep. Bingo. She would watch when he went to the NFL Network, she would watch the pregame and postgame shit with him because she thought he was so fucking hot. All right. It's human nature. All right. So sorry, women. No, we don't care. You can ugly yourself up. You can dye your hair 15 million different colors not found in nature. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can diesel dyke it up like a motherfucker. It doesn't matter. If there's a good-looking woman on that team, but she's not as talented as the one who looks like Alice, the security guard with an ass bigger than mine, then guess what? She's probably going to get more attention. All right? Bottom line, that's human fucking nature. Use your attributes that you have to your advantage. And stop shitting on people who just who just will never be interested. And worse yet, better yet, stop shitting on people who would be interested, but you leave such a bad taste in their mouth with your bullshit that they go, fuck you.
The boomerang.
Yes.
I've said it in the chat a million times. You can put it in front of us all you want. You can't make us interested in it.
That's right. And that's the thing about athletics, too. Athletic competition, most people who watch athletic competition, you're going to get more people to watch Major League Baseball than you are the West Michigan White fucking Caps and whoever it is they're playing this week. They want to see the best athletic competition they can find. They want to see the best athletes compete. They want to see the best against the best, right?
Why do you think there's no minor league baseball TV contracts? Because no one wants to watch that shit.
Exactly. They talked about it in the All-Star game last night. Jacob deGrom was up there against Mike Trout. And the announcer's like, this is why you watch the game. You want to see the best against the best. And I'm sorry, women's soccer is not the best athletic product you're going to find. I'm sorry. If you don't agree with that, I keep saying this, I'm going to keep coming the fuck back to it. If your product and your athleticism is as good as the men, go try the fuck out and see if you make that team. Then I'll watch. Then I'll pay attention.
It's like the old...
To me, this is like watching the JV team.
Ice, it's like the old saying that we've talked about a million times when this comes up on the show. Okay, take the best college football team that's ever existed and put them against the worst pro football team, and that pro football team's going to slaughter that college football team. And we can argue about it and go, no, that's not true. Well, here's the deal. There are, 100-plus players on the college football team, and those aren't the best players they could find. There are 53 players on a pro football team, one of 32, which equals out to 2,500 players that made the cut. They're better than those 100 players on that college football team. End of story. This is all there is to it. So they might, the U.S. women's national soccer team, and it definitely appears so, appear to be the best women's team as of right now.
By far.
By far. But that doesn't mean that that they can compete with the worst men's team. And even when we've had,
I would love to see it too. Love to see the men's U.S. team go against the women's U.S. team this year.
I'd love to see it too. I'd love to see it too. You know why?
I'd love to see that 13-0 game and watch these guys out there celebrating on goal number 13. I'd love to fucking see that because that's exactly what would happen.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. Every time we've ever had one of these, and in the 70s we had it. It was Bobby Riggs and what was her name?
Billie Jean King.
Billie Jean King.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, Bobby Riggs.
He was 55 years old.
Was 2 beers and a pack of Marlboros away from dialysis. Okay, and Billie Jean King was in the fucking prime of her career.
Yeah, she was 28, 29. He's 55. Wow, you beat a 55-year-old man. Good for you.
Give me Nadal in his prime against Serena.
Yeah.
Give me...
I'll watch that shit.
Yeah, give me the best in their prime from one gender against the other gender. And here's the deal. I'll say this. I'll go this far. I really don't have a problem with making it co-ed as long as the best players are out there.
Absolutely. If you can make it, I will buy your fucking jersey. If you can get on that team and not have the men pulling punches and pulling hits and taking it easy on you, and you can make that team and compete on an equal field, I'll buy your fucking jersey. I will cheer you the fuck on. I'd love to see that. Everybody likes an underdog, right? Everybody roots for an underdog. What bigger underdog is there than a woman competing on a men's field? You want equality? That's equality. That's equity. Get on the same fucking field. Compete with the same people.
I've told you guys this before, man. There's been one woman to play in the NHL. She played goalie. It was in a preseason game. It was Manon Ramon, and she played for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And you know what? She didn't make the team, but goddamn it, she made the team. She made the preseason team enough for them to put her out there against the men. And you know what? That probably means that she was dominant as fuck against the females. And that's just all there is to it. And that's why I still know her name 25 years later. And I can tell you what team she played for 25 years later. See, this isn't about. Now there are some people that are just like, look, if I'm watching men's sports, I don't want women announcers. I don't want women out there. And if that's how they feel, fine, whatever. You can't force people to think the way you want them to think. Okay. Now you can get on Twitter and get the Twitter mobs and shame them. You can get on social media and shame them and cancel them or whatever the fuck is the new term that these douchebags that are fucking younger than us come up with every 5 seconds to they juggle these terms that way they never get pigeonholed into what they're doing, which is basically trying to shut people up from having an opinion they don't like. You can do that, but there's also people like me who's like, I just want to see the best players against the best players. That's all there is to it, I mean,
athletics is, man. It's competition, mano a mano, the best against the best.
I love Steve Yzerman. Growing up a Red Wings fan, love him. When you say the captain, I only think of one person. I don't think of Derek Jeter. I think of fucking Steve Yzerman. End of story. But I'm going to tell you what, there's going to be, if Steve Yzerman ever ran up against Bob Probert and he dropped the gloves against Bob Probert, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing, Yzerman? Okay?
Be like, hey, remember Steve Yzerman's last game?
You know, if Steve Yzerman dropped the gloves against Gordie Howe in his prime, I would be like, what are you doing? Are you trying to die? There's easier ways to kill yourself. Serious. Like, but that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? That just means they weren't the best at that aspect of their sport. When it comes to putting up points, Yzerman smoked Probert. When it come to changing his game and becoming one of the best two-way forwards the game had ever seen, he smoked damn near everybody in his fucking generation. Damn sure the generation now, because the game's wide open. But that's a subject for another day. But I'm just saying, man, like, no, I'm not saying I won't watch women's sports because they're women, but I refuse to be shamed into watching women's sports because it's women's sports and they're women. Fuck you. You don't get to fucking tell me how I am allowed to think.
Women don't watch women's sports. And WNBA, looking at you. For real. Why? There's been a professional women's basketball league for 20 plus years. It's been losing money for 20 plus years. The games are never sold out. Where you at, ladies?
Yeah. They're more than half the population's women. Why aren't those fucking stands filled? Huh. It's a great question. You don't even watch it.
But, yeah, equal pay. How about equal interest? Equal revenue? Let's start there.
But, guys, it does go back to things like, look, if you're going to have players on a team that are going to make inflammatory statements, political statements against half of the country, they're not going to generate a lot of goodwill coming their way from those people.
No.
Okay?
They're not. They're sort of self-defeating themselves to a certain point.
And don't get me wrong, this is coming from someone who has defended someone like Colin Kaepernick and his right to protest, to say whatever the fuck he wants, even when I disagreed with it, because that is one of the core principles of our country. It's not defending the speech or the actions you like. It's defending the ones that you disagree with because it's their right to be that way and express that way.
Nobody's suggesting that we throw any of these women in a gulag. I mean, nobody's saying that they shouldn't be able to say anything. She made a choice. She has freedom of speech, but all of these women have the ability and the right to say anything they want. What they don't have a right to is to expect everyone to kowtow to it.
I'm afraid. Sorry, I didn't mean for this to be a dog pile situation. And if you're feeling that way, honestly,
I'm not feeling that way.
Well, I was going to say you would have a right to a certain extent. But
no, I know how you guys feel about it, and that's fine. I just disagree. I think the product that the women's U.S. soccer team puts out is way better than that of the men's U.S. soccer team, not men's soccer.
Okay,
and I can't.
Okay,
why? Hang on a minute. Stop.
Let him say.
I'll let you guys finish. Hush.
Let him say.
Because when you say soccer, it is football across the world. Okay. It is football to everybody else. And it is the biggest sport ever. You go to England, it is Liverpool, Manchester United. These guys will kill you if you wear the opposing people's shit. All right, we'll sit here and talk shit, maybe have a bar brawl. They will kill you. It is the biggest thing on the planet to them. So you're trying to tell me that the men's U.S. soccer team is drawing all of this money, and it's not. They are not. I guarantee you they are not.
So wait a minute.
All over the world, from South America all the way across the pond to British, German, Australia, all of them are withdrawing this money.
Let me ask, was the figure you got from Forbes, was that worldwide? Was that a global figure?
Stand by.
Todd, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm sure it has to be.
Well, then he's right about that.
So yeah, that's what I was about to say. If we're just talking about in the U.S., yeah, I'm sure. Let me put it to you this way. I have a handful of friends that are mutual friends, Ice, that you and I have, who get excited with the Men's World Cup when it comes around. One of them might be, you married him and his wife. Okay? You know who I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Well, whatever. Scott wouldn't mind me mentioning his name. But he's also just as amped about the women's soccer team. You know what I'm saying? And to him, in his mind, he's like, but we're talking about women's soccer versus men's soccer. When you say that the women's soccer team puts out a better product than the men's soccer team, yes, when they play other women, obviously they're the champions. They were better than everyone in their pool of competition. The men didn't win a championship, hasn't won, 4 now? Championships like the women have? I think it's 4.
Did they ever even come close?
I don't know, to be honest.
The men is recent. They was the Sweet 16.
So no.
Yeah, So yeah, dude. Yes,
I'm with you there. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay,
their products
because they're the men, they get to lynch off of the world investment of soccer. And you know what? That's just the breaks of what it is, ladies, and I'm very sorry. It is not fair. I completely agree with you. But like everybody here on this show is saying, you've got to get more of an audience to get more money.
Why don't they have it? Why don't they set it up like a winner's pool? Like if you win, you get a greater percentage than if you finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, Sweet 16.
Because that's what is being in certain circles of postmodern academia being called a meritocracy.
Meritocracy?
No, seriously, that you're rewarding people who are more abled, so you're being ableist against the people who aren't as.
Are you making that up, ableist? You can pull that out your butthole, because I'm going to give you a lot of credit. That's clever as fuck if you did. You heard that somewhere.
No, I've been hearing that for years now.
I have never heard the word ableist. If you can find me something with that in it, I have a podcast I've got to record quite soon, and I need to vent. Please set that to me.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Yeah, you don't have to do it now.
There's a whole Wikipedia.
Ableist.
Yep. Casual ableist language. What is ableism? What does ableism mean? Overcoming ableism, what you don't know as an ableist. Yeah.
You know those concentration camps that we have those kids in the Southwest? I think we should empty those out and put all the people who wrote those articles in them. Lock the doors.
Lock the cages, you mean?
I'd support that move. That is, I support this message. My name's Todd Villa, and I approve this message. Please,
there's an Am I Ableist quiz.
Yeah, Todd, I swear to God, I couldn't make this shit up because my mind doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're a clever guy, and I thought you just exceeded your limit. I thought you got into a zone there for a moment, and holy shit.
You thought I was fucking above my pay grade. No, this ain't real life. This is sadly the real world, though. And yeah, I don't fuck above my pay grade in the real world, just in the case of how hot the chicks I have sex with are to me.
Let me understand. Mankind has gone from the Olympics, this grand tournament of competition to see who's the best, to having the word ableist ejaculated into a conversation about sports.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Along with toxic masculinity, toxic.
Let that set in for a second, Todd.
Meritocracy. The meritocracy is yes, it's rewarding people who are better at something than other people. That plays into the postmodern idea of equality of outcome. This is something that you'll hear from people on who are, I guess, in favor of let the best man win or the best person win or whatever you want to call it. They say there's no such thing as a level playing field because not all people are created equal. Well,
oh my God.
The people on the left, who disagree, who they'll agree with that, but they ultimately disagree because the outcome should be equal even if they weren't created equal.
One thing I would like to see, whether or not it's created equal, is the lower and upper lip of these people wrapped around my dick. That would be something I'd really love to see. I'd like to do a little survey of equanimity.
Well, I got Todd more heated than if I brought up Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, you did.
By the way,
Bobby Hurley's lower lip is by far superior to his upper. He's the bottom. Don't
support you all at the same time. The U.S. World Cup and the Men's World Cup in Russia total generated $6 billion. While the Women's World Cup, the Women's World Cup cycle expected to be completed by. So I mean, the worldwide interest isn't there at all for women's soccer. So I mean, that's part of the.
But it is a worldwide total, though, right? It's not generated by just the U.S. teams. This is a worldwide. So yeah. So he's right about that. There's a higher gross revenue worldwide for men's, but the U.S. men's team isn't generating the bulk of that because they suck.
But remember,
whereas with the women,
the men are making 9% of what the U.S. men's soccer team pulls in, where the women are getting 14% of what the women's soccer team is pulling in.
So what's the fucking problem here?
The men still make more money because the men pull in more money. 9% of $1 billion is a lot more than 9% of 200 million, or 14% of 200 million.
I don't understand what the fucking problem is. Because your product, again, it goes back to then, you're both right. You're both right about this. It shouldn't be about like a check that is written the same. God, it's like saying that if you work for Burger King, you should make as much as a guy who works for Boeing. That your check should read the same.
Well, if you work for Boeing and you're designing weapons, you probably killed more people by serving them food from Burger King. So you're better at your job.
You get my point, though, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just being an asshole. So
yeah, I mean, if you're making a larger percentage of what your product, the entire product, is bringing in than the men are, maybe the men are underpaid. I think the men should be making an equal percentage to the women. I don't think that's fair at all.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
Well, I mean,
yeah, we should shout equal pay. We want 5% more.
Exactly. We're talking about equanimity. I think the percentage should be equal across the board. Why should we be persecuted and oppressed like this? I demand an equal percentage, equal percentage, equal percentage. Let's start the chant. I'm as mad as hell and I want equal percentage. Let me move on.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
Bosch Home Appliances offer the easy way to perfect results. Our Bosch Autopilot ovens with preset recipes make family favourites a perfect success every time. Upgrade to PyroClean for the ultimate convenience. Or the Bosch IDOS self-dosing washing machines. Save up to 38% on detergent with one fill for 20 washes. With Which award-winning products and reliable local service teams, it's no surprise Bosch is Europe's #1 major appliance brand. Check out the full Bosch range in-store or at euronics.ie.
The Jaguar I-Pace is setting the pace for electric vehicles. Winner of the 2019 World Car of the Year, World Green Car of the Year and World Car Design of the Year. To celebrate this treble win, we're offering €3,000 off all Jaguar models, plus a free 3-year service plan. Set the pace. Book your test drive today at Conlon's Jaguar Nace. Offer available until the 31st of August.
Everyone shouts about how fast their broadband is.
We're fast, mega fast, stupid fast, almost too fast.
But what do they say about reliability? Well, Dublin, with Virgin Media you get both. Ireland's fastest broadband network and 99.9% network reliability. Reliability at speed. See virginmedia.ie.
Terms and conditions apply. Ireland's fastest broadband network as awarded by Ookla. Network reliability. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Order before 12 noon and you can get your shopping delivered the very same day. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
So now that our audience is now 2 dudes, let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. Let's just keep the divisiveness going.
I'm going to step out on this one. I need to go kick my cat. I'll be right back.
That son of a bitch.
I didn't know he worked for. I didn't know he was on the board at Nike. He makes decisions now.
I don't even know where to begin on this. I am so done with this guy.
Dude, the more this plays out, I think this was a calculated move by Nike, quite honestly.
No, it wasn't.
They made $3 billion. They made $3 billion in their stock price going up because of this.
This is another.
Those shoes are now worth $2,500.
Oh, I cannot stand this fucking guy. How are you going to make a commercial that says even if it costs you everything for the company that produces shoes?
Can we talk about the issue that happened last week, not last year?
How can you make that commercial and then turn around and bite literally the hand that feeds you again?
He bite shit. He made them a ton of money. They love him. They probably took him out for a steak. Hey, you made us $3 billion.
I'm awesome on the money aspect. Fuck the money. Talking about what he said. This guy has. You know what? I'm going to start a chant, and it's called Deport Colin Kaepernick.
Deport, dude. Deport. You can't deport a citizen, dude.
And he doesn't want to be a citizen. Anytime the national anthem, the flag, or any other patriotic symbol from this country comes up, that motherfucker cries.
He's allowed to. He's allowed to. Just like you're allowed.
Just like you're allowed to in a different motherfucking country. Goddammit.
Just like you're allowed to say fuck him and we should deport him. He's allowed to say that shit. Come on, dude. Do we have to have this conversation again?
Oh no. I'm just saying. Let him have it somewhere else. He hates this country so goddamn bad. Get the fuck out. I am so tired of this motherfucker. I have had the proverbial enough. Enough is enough. You don't like the flag. You don't like the fucking national anthem. You don't like the politics. Get the fuck out.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's look at the facts and try to keep emotion to a minimum. I know that's hard for you, Ice, but let's look at the facts here.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Iceman here. All right, so
felt targeted. That's all.
The AKA Betsy Ross flag is what was on the Nikes that they were going to release.
Correct.
Okay. And Colin Kaepernick said that flag is a symbol of the country when the country had slavery in it. That's a fact. The problem that I run into here is, and this is where I have a problem with people who look at things like Colin Kaepernick tends to do, is they don't care about context until you start questioning their context. They try to assign context instead of dealing with the fact that context is there not to be assigned, but it's there to be a fact. Betsy Ross was a Quaker. Quakers were abolitionists. Quakers were against slavery and were fundamental in helping the Underground Railroad. So basically, he just is ignorant of history and is going, well, this flag.
That was my next point.
is blanket means this. Well, okay, then every flag that every nation who's ever existed has flown stands for only the bad things they've done and never the good things.
And Rich, don't forget this chestnut, this recurrent. Also, it's one of the reasons too is because some white supremacist groups use it as a symbol.
Okay, well, Obama had it as one of the American flags behind him in his 2008 inauguration. So that, along with the so-called white power OK symbol, can tongue fuck my unwiped asshole after the night I drank a Dirty 30 and a Crave case of White Castles. Okay,
you know what this boils down to two things. Colin Kaepernick is not a football player. He's an activist brand at this point. That's what everybody knows him for.
Yeah.
Right? This is brand building. It's plain and simple. That's what he I don't know, has he been signed? Is he like with a football team anymore?
No.
He's over.
So he's not even a fucking football player. He's basically a Kardashian at this point, who's known for his hot take on the fucking flag. That's all it is. That's all he is. So when he says shit like this, it's basically he's like these guys on Twitter, these social media political influencers on Twitter who pronounce their hot takes on everything to lather up their base and keep their brand building. That's all this is. There's no there. The guy he's engaging in a classic propaganda tactic of hijacking symbols. Hijacking symbols, changing the context to mean what he wants it to mean to further his fucking agenda. I'm with you, Ice. Shut the fuck up about this. Just go the fuck away. If you can't play football, Mr. Football Player, the guy who got his He is exactly like these bitches on the goddamn soccer team, using an athletic platform to hop up and pronounce their righteousness to the fucking world. Fuck you. Go the fuck away. Go do something. Start a fucking podcast, for fuck's sakes. I can send you to Guitar Center with a nice equipment list at this point if you want a platform to espouse your beliefs. But shut the fuck up.
You have to remember, he has the best platform. He has the platform by refusing to pick up his player option with San Francisco. Maybe, arguably, the one team that would allow him to do this stuff without basically making a team rule saying, we will suspend you or bench you if you do.
Yeah.
And then boom, he gets released. And then this is a fact. This is not an opinion at this point. Worse players than him were signed as backup quarterbacks for years now. He's been blacklisted.
So is Barry Bonds. He's toxic.
Now that opens up another door. I mean, we've talked about it. Is it the owners of these teams' rights? Is it the GM of these teams' rights to go, I don't want to bring a guy like him in here. I don't need him. I don't need a backup quarterback who's going to ride the bench and sit here and have, no matter what we do, every fucking press person coming in and wanting to get hot takes, as you put it, from him, and AKA start shit in the locker room, because you get 53 people in a room and they're never going to agree 100% on anything. So it is their right. So if that's the case, then he overplayed his hand.
He sure did.
And when he realized that, he went to he or someone that represented him had conversations with Nike, and Nike said, "Fuck it, we're going to play to the woke flakes." Another term coined by our illustrious guest, Todd Zilla.
That would be me. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I use it all day. I've even got people out that never listen to your podcast using it now. They love it.
Have you used fuck flakes yet? That's another one that I like that one too. I digress.
But no. But woke flakes is getting some traction. So that is now his job. His job is to express himself in a way that's going to make Nike money, draw attention to Nike. And here's the deal. The people that are burning Nikes already bought them. Nike don't give a fuck.
It's like dumping French wine in the gutter back in the Freedom Fries day. Yeah, you went into the party store, you bought it, you dumb fuck, and then you poured it out. Oh my God, you're killing these fucking wine companies with your activism.
You know, during the Detroit Lions 0-16 season, I believe around game 8 or 10, it was 8, 9, or 10. It was a home game. The fans were told to stage a walkout at halftime to walk out of the game. And I was like, why the fuck would you buy a ticket, sit through half of a fucking game and walk out? Just don't go. Let the stands be empty. Vote with your dollar. Okay.
Because it wouldn't, because people wouldn't be seen. You know, it's not about making a statement. It's about being seen making a statement. If you don't buy a ticket and don't go to the game, well, nobody can see you leave.
Well, that's just it. If you want to burn the Nikes, burn them in the store.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Go to jail. Put your freedom where your activism is. There you go. That'll impress me.
Well, I'd like to point out that we do not condone public arson.
I'm just saying it'll show how serious your point is.
I want to interject one thing about Nike, and this has been this was in the news maybe a year ago or so. But Nike has taken. It used to be with these corporate brands that they used to try to appeal to everyone, right? And I remember reading about this. Nike made a decision that somebody in their hierarchy, their sales staff or their sales executives, decided that they could not please everyone. They had to target certain people, and they chose to target the woke flakes. This is calculated as far as Nike goes. This isn't just some, random decision. This is a corporate sales sort of tactic that they've chosen to make. They want to be on the side of the social justice people.
Well, not only that, Todd, but there is a PR / as you've said on the Escaping the Cave podcast, which if you don't listen to it, you need to. But anyways,
I agree. You do.
As you said on there, public relations is just another word for propaganda after World War I because propaganda got tainted by what the Germans did with it. So they didn't. If I'm incorrect, correct me there.
You're not.
But okay. So it's been this way. The right wing people, the Trump bots, the filthy centrists, the libertarians, aka Nazis who like to smoke weed and have sex, they don't buy Nikes anyways. They buy New Balance. Those have become the dad shoes. And there's memes all over the internet of anytime you see a picture of a guy in New Balance, you're like, well, there's a dad. But Nike is the hip, young, urban crowd. So of course they played to that. Because once they understood that, I wouldn't be surprised if Nike has a crew of people sitting around pumping out these New Balance memes, pumping up New Balance as the dad shoe, the shoe that's not cool, that puts them on par with Crocs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They're cargo shorts.
Hey, fuck it. Those are handy when I'm... Well, you know what? I'm not even going to get into that. Whatever.
What
do you have against pockets, Todd? What do you have against pockets?
Fuck that. I got 3 pairs of those fuckers, and I love them.
So that's my wife.
My butthole if you... Huh?
She made fun of me the other day. I'm like, what do you have against pockets, Mandy?
She carry a purse?
Exactly.
Then she can shut the fuck up. Okay? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to tell your wife to shut the fuck up. She can have her say.
By now, anyway. It's okay.
Yeah.
We ran her off 40 minutes ago.
She can have her say, I just strongly disagree with it for someone carrying a purse. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Like, you know.
But there's one other element you kind of touched on as far as the propaganda goes, and it's something that's going to be in the next podcast, by the way, here on the CRISPRmedia.net network, the Escape of the K podcast, is that once you start down that road, you can't turn back. You know, like Kaepernick, as far as his brand goes and as far as his position and his place in the propagandized society and his hot takes and his, activizing and all that, he has to double down on this now. He has no other choice. What else is he going to do other than become obsolete at this point?
Well, also in our societies, thanks to it was there before, but in 2004, the presidential election, it was really drilled into our heads. There's no such thing as changing your mind. It's called flip-flopping.
Flip-flopping, yeah.
Which is just another term that's been co-opted and propagandized.
Right.
So,
we're going to talk about this. Probably, if you guys are still planning on coming on next week, we'll talk about this next week. We should probably keep this on sports as far as this goes. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as he's concerned, from my perspective, he just needs to just either play football or get the fuck out of the sports realm and go do something else. Go run for office, man.
Here's how I look at it. He was once an employee of an NFL team.
Yeah.
Now he's an employee of Nike. He's speaking in his employer's best interest to try to get as much money coming in through his words for his employer on his employer.
I think this shit was planned.
You're probably
they made
right.
$3 billion off of their stock price going up. Those shoes that were out there are now worth $2,500.
That is not being cynical. When you say that you have to look at it that way. You have to follow the money. You have to follow the branding.
I was sitting here remembering, right, Chris. I think you're right. This isn't the first time Nike's done this.
No, that's what I'm saying.
In the heat of a huge Muslim issue, Nike put out a brand of Nike Air, where the word "air" looked very close to an Arabic word that meant something. I'm not sure what it was. And somebody called Nike out on it, and they immediately pulled them and did everything, and that shot their stock up too.
Yeah. I quote a former president: "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again."
You did that really well. I thought
that's how that shit went. That's how that shit went.
And we sit here and opine. We opine away. We sit here and opine away for the days when he was president.
Got it. I would get on my knees and suck a Cheney cock to have that man back in office these days. I swear to fucking God. I would make Cheney's heart explode. I would suck that dick so well. If we could just have Bush back right now.
Oh, God. All right.
That mental picture, folks.
Yeah, and that's on tape, isn't it?
So
yeah, but that's my fucking word. It's time for him to get the fuck out of the country.
Who?
Everybody was kind of with him and sympathetic and, Black Lives Matter and all this shit, police and yada, yada, yada. And he went to a whole different level.
Well, look, at this point, I look at Colin Kaepernick, and I think of someone who's just he was speaking his mind when he was playing football because the team that he was signed by and under contract with allowed him to do it. Now he's decided to mix his opinion with corporate America, and he wants to have this type of revolutionary opinion. And revolutionary opinions in corporate America go together about as well as, I could think of an analogy, but I'm not going to. They just don't go together. Okay, I mean, they go together on a surface level, but truly in the end, Nike cares about making money. Nike isn't pulling their factories out of these fucking, shithole countries where they're paying people pennies on the dollar for what they earn versus what these people make to make their shoes and then selling them at a ridiculous markup.
That's it. They deserve a percentage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. When's the last time you heard any woke flake outrage about, Nike's products being made in these cheaper countries? You heard anything about that lately? I haven't been paying too much attention.
Only the very, 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 very far left. And those are people that are so far left that they have we all are hypocrites to a point. It's something that Aaron says on
we are
unregimented, and you echo the sentiment. It's something that I've had to agree with. But I mean, these are people who they like to think of themselves as some sort of revolutionary in Russia times. Against the bourgeois and they're the proletariat, and when in reality is they're the bourgeois, they're just too ignorant to realize it, as they tweet out this shit on their $1,000 fucking iPhones and
that was made by tiny Asian hands.
Yeah,
that's pretty savvy on Nike's part though, if you think about that, because they've kind of done with their brand what Subaru did with theirs.
Love is what makes a Subaru. Jimmy decided to go out and wash the car, and he collected rainwater to save the environment.
That kind of advertising track that Subaru has to sort of love mark themselves to the fucking granola crowd.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Nike's doing.
Made with love.
Yeah. That's exactly what Nike's doing.
Huh? The green to entrench themselves with the Green Tea Party?
Yeah, exactly. And that way, it sort of shields them from the criticism that they're fucking employing these kids in sweatshops in Southeast Asia. Because all of a sudden, the woke flakes are concentrating and focusing on Kaepernick's bullshit and forgetting that they're employing kids for 10 cents an hour over in Taiwan.
Yeah, I heard something while this was all going on. I heard something that Nike has not released what they pay their workers in 10 years.
But Kaepernick.
Shocking.
But Betsy Ross flag sneakers.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? That's how this shit works.
It's look over here.
Nike credit. Yeah, exactly. Squirrel.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate and think that maybe Nike didn't have this in mind when they had Colin Kaepernick. Because, like I said, Colin Kaepernick went on for Nike on a commercial and said, even if it costs you everything. Okay, you sold out. You cashed in. I myself tore him down for doing so on this very podcast. How can you sell out? Your point was all of this, and now you're just trying to make all the money and cash in. And then all of a sudden, Nike put out the Betsy Ross flag shoes, and Colin Kaepernick spun around on them. I think maybe Nike has a pretty good PR people in their ranks, and they were like, "Oh shit, okay, we got this."
Listen, Ice, I'll agree with you that the world, to a certain extent, is rudderless, and it's the best that people try to do, especially people in power, is to keep controlled chaos to a minimum. But Nike, believe me, is playing chess with Kaepernick, who's playing checkers. Nike is 12 steps ahead of him.
Listen to the conversation we're having. Will we be discussing Nike shoes if not for this generated outrage?
Nope.
That's the whole point. It's almost like this dialectic, sort of a planned dialectic argument. Create the outrage, solve the outrage, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Get your name in the news. Get your brand in the news.
Like the city of Los Angeles and the state of California do this all the time. They create the problem, then solve it, and go, look, we fixed it.
Listen to the podcast next week, boys. It goes far beyond that.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium, or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs, and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Or with our free click and collect service, you can pick it up in store, packed and ready to go. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium, or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs, and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Order before 12 noon and you can get your shopping delivered the very same day. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
ChristopherMedia.net. Sporgy.
Well, should we kind of pivot into it's a football subject, but it's more about the college football ranks, which is, Chris, you brought this up in the pre-show chat. The law that's on the verge of being passed in California.
Yeah, let me find it back, bring it back up here.
You know, there's a beautiful thing called tabs. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, it's California bill to allow athletes to profit from their name advances, players that have the same rights as Olympians. And it's pretty much the state of California going, hey, NCAA, you and your free labor force, your days are numbered.
Now, the interesting part about this, at least according to the local sports stations I listen to as of today, which, as we all know, you got to take with a grain of salt when you hear these reports and then, reports about the reports, is the NCAA is saying that if the state of California does pass this law, then they're going to exclude any college teams from the state of California and any NCAA championships or tournaments to win the championships.
I say bullshit.
So you think it's a basically they're selling wolf tickets.
If UCLA or USC goes undefeated and ends up in the national championship game, you're going to cut off the second largest media market in the country. Fuck you. No, you're not, NCAA. You have proven to us time and time again you are about the cash. Don't hand us this line of bullshit. This is just them taking a stand. This is them seeing that their house is on fire, quite honestly. Your free labor force's days are numbered.
I mean, this does go back to, essentially we're talking about as it stands, because the NBA is about I think in the next season or two they're going to go to, you don't have to do a year at a college before you enter the draft.
Yeah, back to how it was before they changed the rules after LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah. So what is going to affect the most is college football and probably other sports that are not so much high on the radar, maybe like track and field, baseball, hockey, et cetera, et cetera. And this all goes back to, why does the NAACP, wow, sorry, my bad. Why does the
Freudian slip.
Why does the NCAA insist that players cannot make any money off their likeness and have to live hand to mouth while they go to college? And I think this goes back to me, and yes, I am being rather reductionist in my take on it, or my take on it, and my view, actually. But I think ultimately it does come down to that's less money in the NCAA's pocket.
Yep.
I mean, one of the biggest video games produced every year in the United States up until 2014 was NCAA football. I know. NAACP football. I played the fuck out that game.
I got MLK at quarterback. Woo!
What's up? I got Jesse at receiver, baby. He's going to take that
safety.
He's going to take that ball down to Hymietown, baby. To Hymietown.
Hey, fuck all of you. I got Muhammad Ali as linebacker. You're fucked. Knocking people out.
I got Cassius Clay, so fuck you too.
His mama named him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. But anyway,
be Joe Lewis's ass.
But yeah, and that's one of the things that's a sticking point, because that is money that is just they're waving to bags of money going bye-bye. All because they fucked up and on the college basketball, which is ironic because the college football game is the one that probably made them the most money. The college basketball game is the one that made them stop selling the license or allowing EA to make the games via the license. They were doing things like using players' likeness and tattoos that they had on them in the game, but they weren't putting the players' real names on them or their real numbers on the jersey. Now, even though you could go in and edit every single player for their real name and real number on their jersey, you had to do that. That option was there, but the game wasn't released that way. And between that and the Johnny Manziel, Mr. Money Man there, I think what was he doing? He got caught selling his autograph for like $10 at some sort of convention, $10 a pop.
Yeah.
And it was before he declared for the draft. So the NCAA was like, no, you can't do that. And he was like, fuck out of here. And forgive me, because this goes back to my libertarian, streak that's in me, that it is there still. The only thing you own in this life is your body. So you should be able to make money or do whatever you want with your body and your likeness. And I don't give a fuck. No corporate entity that you're not technically an employee of should have a right to fucking tell you can't. Because these are not technically employees. The NCAA makes a point of stipulating that they are student athletes, but they act as if they own them. In other words, own the rights to their likeness. So if California is going forward with this law, by the way, which is, if you guys have ever watched the last season of Ballers, this is one of the core storylines going on there, which is why I think we're still waiting on the new season of Ballers, because I don't think there's going to be a new season of Ballers, because Ballers basically took on the NCAA head on in that season. And I think the NCAA, who is in cahoots with the NFL, is like, hey, why don't you take the licensing rights away from them? But who's going to watch a show about that? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you can't. The show has been based in reality of the sports world, yet now all of a sudden it's going to be based in, it's the Miami football team. They can't call them the Dolphins. When they mention Michigan, they can't say the Wolverines. I mean, it all goes back to the NCAA. Get your hand out my pocket, essentially. And I'm sorry, but these players are out here putting their lives, their careers on the line, because you have rules that say they have to play 3 years before they can declare for the draft. And in those 3 years, anything could happen that could do anything from end their career to end their life. But they're not allowed to make any money during those 3 years?
Well, here's the thing, though. The NCAA had this all set up. The college level was beautifully set up for the NCAA, because everything that was legal goes to the NCAA. All the games, all the likeness, all the money for the tournaments, all the games, all of that shit, all that money goes to the NCAA. The players are making money, dude. It's not legal. It's behind closed doors.
Well, let them make legal money.
I agree.
Because if it's going to if it's going to happen, then everybody should make money. Look, this is not a zero-sum game. There's more than enough money in college sports for players to sell their autograph for $10 a pop at a fucking convention in the off season, and the NCAA to still fucking rake in billions via March Madness. And yes, it is billions. We've talked about that multiple times on this show. And God knows what college football rakes in with 125 college football teams. God knows if you combine them all, what they're raking in. So this is just pure greed. And this is where, I got a little bit of an issue with this. This is, greed run amok. And I'm sorry, but there's no reason for you to take the whole pie when there's enough for everybody to get some. And I understand the NCAA has to get their bigger share. I understand that. They're the ones that negotiate the TV contracts. They're the ones that set the conferences, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, they're the ones that have for years, for decades, put this product out there. But let these players fucking make some money to the point where it's if they accept a meal from somebody for free, they're not putting their eligibility to play at risk.
Well, my beef the whole time with it too has been this takes up as much time as a full-time job, and they get nothing for it. They literally get zero. Yes, ice, books, room and board, all that stuff. Yes, but as far as
no. I wasn't
for their
talking
time.
about that.
They are not compensated. They are this demand. This is a full-time job where they occasionally have to go to class, and they get nothing for their time. That is wrong.
Let's not forget that sports is a year-round. Let's not forget that sports is a year-round job now, no matter what level you play at. Even the travel teams, with we're talking kids in middle school and high school. They play year-round. There's two-a-days, there's practices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've dealt with these parents and these kids. And these kids are no more than 13, 14 being shuffled around from city to city like they're professional players, hotel to hotel. And that may sound like a grand life, but that kid isn't having the life that, a normal kid had 30 years ago who was good at playing sports. If you were a good athlete, you played multiple sports. Now, there's so much pressure to exceed at one sport only that these parents get stuck in these travel leagues, and it's the only way to go. And by the way, the parents pay for the travel leagues. Not the money generated doesn't pay for these kids. The parents have to pay for this. And if you want your kid to succeed, you got to put your kid in these travel leagues. Hockey and baseball, as far as I know, are the two that are the most guilty of this. I don't know about basketball. I couldn't really speak on it. And football is its own thing. Football has a free minor leagues via the NCAA. So there's no reason for them to have travel teams. And on top of it, football is such a violent sport. It's not like the teams are out there barnstorming against other teams playing full contact, full speed games for the fuck of it during the off season. So, sorry, who just flies in the face?
I'm not talking about just tuition and books, Chris. I'm talking about big time players are getting paid by boosters, behind closed doors.
But they shouldn't have to do that.
Okay, and I agree with you. But this is the way this system was set up ever since the NCAA was founded.
Okay,
and
if
it worked beautifully.
If the system was just and the system was righteous, and it was, okay, look, you want the best player, you have to lure the best player, and we're going to, whatever. You got to give his mom a house, you got to give him a fucking brand new car, and you got to get his daddy a good job. And that's how you lure the players, and that is the game that we're playing, and it was admitted that's the game that we're all playing, then fine. But when you can put players' eligibility, future career, and an entire fucking program's existence in jeopardy because of a corrupt system that you set up and turned a blind eye to, fuck you. Who the fuck are you to fucking come down as the hammer of God on these people?
When was the NCAA's amateur system set up?
I'm sorry, say again?
the NCAA system is amateur. You can't make money. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't be compensated in any way financially to keep your NCAA eligibility. When was that set up?
That's a very good question. As far as I know, it goes back. It goes back farther than I've been alive. I know that much.
Well, that's far enough, because that was a different world then. Do you think that anybody, when they set this up, I understand not paying players to play college football. It's supposed to be you're supposed to be a student athlete in that order, right? And then you put a football team on the field just like you put a high school football team on the field. I would imagine that was how it was conceived back in the day, back in the Roosevelt administration, right?
We got to remember, up until about 50, 60 years ago, college football far outdrew and outmade money for pro football.
Right.
So college football was the thing.
Yeah, but I don't know that it may have been the thing, but it wasn't the thing it is now then.
No.
You see what I mean? I don't know that anybody could ever conceive of the money-making juggernaut that the NCAA has become these days, and the competition and the drive to put these athletes on the field to generate revenue. Well, I don't think when this system was conceived, I don't think anybody had any conception of that. So therefore, it only makes sense. It doesn't make any sense to keep an antiquated system intact after times have changed as much as they have. They should sit down and they should reevaluate everything they're doing with this system.
Well, it also leads to college football programs cooking their books and juking the system.
Yeah, that's exactly what ICE just was talking about. All this shit is happening.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong, so be it. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, I read a report that in the last 10 years, the Alabama football program, the dominant football program in the last 10 years, was trying to make a claim that they clear $400,000 a year as profit. Okay. That's what a well-run pizzeria does.
Right, that's Alabama?
Yeah.
Education system sucks down there. It's worse than Kansas.
So, yeah, if they're trying to claim that they make $400,000 a year, that's what they clear in profit, I'm like, yeah, there's something really wrong here. We're dealing with realities that are completely made up.
Well, you gotta cut out all the once the labor budget's blown, that's all they have left.
Yeah.
You think most Alabama isn't on the take? You are not based in reality.
And Trump's a billionaire, so.
Yeah. Well, Todd, let me ask you a question, because I know that you pay attention to minor league baseball. Do you pay attention to other countries' leagues? Like keep an eye on them?
The only ones I know of are Japan and Korea, and it's really hard to keep up on that stuff.
Okay. Well, I didn't know it's
the Mexican League too, but
yeah. Do you have any idea of how college baseball works as far as finances, eligibility? Is it the same as football, to where you have to put in at least 3 years before you can declare for the draft? Or can players be drafted right out of high school and decide, I'm going to go to, and I believe it's this way, they can decide, I'm going to go to college, and then they can re-enter the draft after their college stint?
That's happened a couple of times in the last couple of years, actually. There was a guy, I can't remember if it was last year. It does happen all the time. Like high school players will get drafted, but they'll also have a scholarship on the table. So if they don't go high enough in the major league draft, or they can't come to a contract agreement with the major league club, some of these players occasionally, it doesn't happen often, but it has happened, and it has happened recently, will just decide not to sign with the team and go to college.
So they have the option to just not go to college and to go right to the minors and try to work their way up through the minor league into the major leagues club.
Right, but they can also use that leverage to go to school. They can be drafted and still go to college if they decide not to sign.
See, because the example that sticks out to me is, and it's granted it's from a movie. I'm sure it's been juiced for the movie, but it was Billy Beane in Moneyball. He had an offer to go to Stanford, play baseball for him. The Yankees wanted to draft him, and his mother asked the scout, can he do both? And the scout essentially said no.
Right.
He has to make a decision here.
Yeah,
You know?
he can't sign with a major league club and play college football.
Yeah.
Loses his amateur status. He has to make a choice, but yeah.
Because we've talked about that. We've talked about, well, what if teams could draft players, like let's say in college football, but they could still finish their stint at the college? And I'm like, why would professional teams agree to that? Because there's so much risk of injury. Yeah, especially in football.
No way. You're not gonna waste a draft pick on somebody, have them blow out a knee and never play for it.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing it in the NBA. I mean, right now you got a lot of players being drafted, in the NHL too. Players being drafted in foreign countries who have opportunities to play in foreign leagues like the KHL, which, I mean, the KHL is on par in Russia. That's the Russian professional league, with the NHL as far as salaries and prestige. It's just, we have that North American, we're the world champions, even though we don't play the world type, mentality. So a lot of players want to come here, but they'll be like, why would I leave? Why? But they can do that. They can draft the players, but that doesn't mean they're going to get the players. I mean, if you watch the documentary about the Russian Five, that's what happened with Sergei Fedorov. They drafted him, and then the Red Wings actually had to Mission Impossible. Yeah. Like James Bond, dun, 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 get him the fuck out of Russia when he came over here to play to get him on the team.
Right.
But I mean, if he'd have been a bust when he got over here, you're shit out of luck on your draft pick.
Right.
It was high risk, high reward situation. So I was just wondering if it was that way in college baseball. And see, I mean, to me, that's a fair way of doing it. Look, yeah, okay, if a college football team thinks that you're a beast coming right out of high school and that you can compete with other guys in the NFL, let them draft you out of high school, but give them the choice.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when they go, let them make a meager amount of money off of their own likeness. I'm not saying they're out there selling their jerseys, getting a percentage of it. I'm talking about signing autographs. You know what I'm saying? Like something that, if you do it because in the NCAA, if you sign an autograph for free, that's fine. If you charge a penny for it, you lose your eligibility and your program's on probation. That's ridiculous. I mean, at least in my mind. So, I don't know. Take it for what it is.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
Adventure is calling in 53 Degrees North, Ireland's largest outdoor adventure clothing retailer, with everything needed to get outdoors in every weather, for every activity, for every adventure this summer. And in-store expert advice to get you started, with everything from wetsuits and kayaks to tents and hiking boots. Visit us in store in Blanchardstown and Carrickmines or online to get set for adventure.
The Jaguar I-Pace is setting the pace for electric vehicles. Winner of the 2019 World Car of the Year, World Green Car of the Year and World Car Design of the Year. To celebrate this treble win, we're offering €3,000 off all Jaguar models, plus a free 3-year service plan. Set the pace. Book your test drive today at Conlon's Jaguar Nace. Offer available until the 31st of August.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
Sometimes you've just got to get some quality me time. Like right now, when you get away for a few hours to Kildare Village, because we've got hundreds of new arrivals, including new boutiques like Sandro and Maj. Escape to Kildare Village and get front row ready for a new season with a new look and a new smile on your face. A little me time goes a long way at Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day.
ChristopherMedia.net. Sporgy.
think it's now finally time to move on to the All-Star game. Baseball's halfway point. Where we're at. Whole reason Todd's here. To talk better baseball than we can.
I thought I was here to talk about soccer. You've deceived me once again, Christoph.
Oh. The ruse has been...
They're using me for my baseball instead of my soccer knowledge.
Well, your soccer knowledge extends about as far as mine. Alex Morgan in a fucking two-piece, okay? So let's stop bullshit. Let's stop bullshit.
Yellow South got the picture I sent, right?
Oh, that's Allison Stork.
Oh, Steck, whatever the fuck. Who cares? She's hot.
Yeah.
That's who I kept thinking of when we were talking about Alex Morgan.
Yeah, and by the way, for the people who aren't knowledgeable, she was a
pole vaulter.
Yeah, I don't know if she was an Olympic athlete, but she was.
She's an Olympic hottie.
Yes, Lord. That is. Yeah, that's impressive.
You know what we're talking about, Ice?
No.
I'll forward him the picture. Let's
do that.
Let's move on.
And I want to hear the response. I want to hear the ooh.
He'll probably go, "Oh, she's too skinny."
All right, palate cleanse. So we're talking baseball. What do you want to talk about?
One question I have for you, I want your opinion on this. Is the NL Central the most competitive league in baseball or the shittiest division in baseball?
It's right in the middle. Not the most competitive division in baseball, I can tell you that, but it's not terrible either. Those teams they beat on each other a lot. There's not one team that is heads and tails above any. You know, the preseason pick, you guys had me on at the beginning of the year to talk, to have the preseason show, and my surprise pick, if I had to have one, I was like a team I was picking to be the surprise team in baseball was the Reds. I'm looking at the standings today, the Reds are in last place, and they're only, 5.5 games out of first place?
They're 4.5 games out.
4.5. Yeah, 41 and 46 in the first place team, the Cubs 47 and 43. 4.5 games separating 5 teams in that division. So anybody can still win that division.
Yeah.
The Brewers, the Cubs are decent. The Cardinals haven't been that great. And then you've got the Pirates and the Reds who are, pretty much the same. Looking at the other divisions, I'm trying to think. It might be the worst division. American League Central is the worst. The American League West isn't all that hot either. It might be, but I think it's a division that's just full of mediocre to decent teams and not one that's really, really good. So you're going to have everybody hanging around 500.
Yeah, because that is the only league where the difference between first and last place is like it said 4.5 games. Let's see, you just start 30.5, 27, 20, 19.5, 17.5. So yeah, it's either competitive or a dumpster.
Yeah, the Oakland Athletics are 3.5 games further out, and they're in second place than the Reds are in last place.
Yeah.
The A's are 7.5 behind the Astros in second place, and the last place Cincinnati Reds are only 4.5 out in the Central behind the Cubs. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Reds have been okay. They've had really good pitching. The offense hasn't been all that hot, but they could still. They could still make me look like a prophet by the end of the year if they make a trade or two and they get hot toward the end of the season. I don't know what you guys thought of why you didn't watch the home run derby?
I did.
You did? What did you think of that format? Do you like that?
No, no, I really don't like that.
I didn't really care for it either. It seemed like too much like a video game to me.
I put a asterisk on Alonso winning.
What was the format?
I don't know. It just was like constantly swinging like a clock up on the screen, and you could
When were you allowed to take time out?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
I don't know. I'm not really a fan of that. I think they were trying to keep it fast paced for the the ADD generation, and it just I don't know. What was it that Vlad Jr. hit 91 home runs?
Something like that. He had 29 in the first round, 29 in the second, and then 40 after that, and then 22 in the final.
Okay, so forgive my ignorance. I guess what we're saying is there was a clock on how long they could be up at bat.
Yeah.
Not
instead of a pitch count
or outs. Yeah, there were no outs. It was all how many you hit in like 2 minutes or some shit.
Okay, and did they have the like they used to the State Farm Gold Ball?
No.
They got rid of. Okay, so State Farm's obviously not sponsoring it, or they allowed it to change. So okay,
I didn't really care. Each person had 4 minutes, and it was how many you could hit in 4 minutes, and then at your leisure, you could call a timeout and stop the clock, and take 30-second timeout to regenerate your arms.
Yeah. I got to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't watch much of it. I watched probably 20 minutes. I watched Vladdy, and who was the guy he had with there was Guerrero and somebody else. Wasn't Bellinger? Peterson, yeah. I watched that round, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I came back and watched Vlad hit a couple more, but I didn't even watch it. I couldn't, the thing with the All-Star game, I'm a huge baseball fan. And I used to really love the All-Star game. I used to just love everything about it. I used to watch it every single year. I mean, I would look forward to watching this game every single year. And the MLB branding machine, the hype machine, has ruined it. You know what they were doing Monday afternoon on MLB Network? They had a red carpet show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they're doing all this shit with these fucking millionaire ball players. Oh, so what are you wearing today? What brand are you wearing? And who's this? So you have your wife here. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you.
Cleats in a cup. Next question.
I don't need this shit. I don't need the fucking Kardashian feel in baseball.
Let me ask you a question, Todd. This is going way back, but on ESPN Classic, they used to have it was an old black and white show from back in like the 50s and 60s where it was like home run. It might not have been home run derby, but it was the home run face-off.
They're on YouTube. I was going to actually mention that today.
Yeah,
they're on YouTube. Those old videos you can see like Willie Mays and Hank Aaron.
Yeah, going head to head against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I think of, and I understand I'm over 40, so I'm out of the grab money from me demographic. Yeah. I don't know how, because it seems like the older you get, the more disposable income you have until retirement, but whatever. But I understand baseball is trying to make a pivot towards getting a younger audience.
Yeah, good luck.
But I mean, it just, everything you're describing seems to me like this is geared towards the influencer generation.
Yeah.
And that's fine if the influencers want to comment in real time, have a real time Twitter feed or whatever the fuck. But to absolutely bastardize something like that just to try to get more asses in front of it. And let's be honest, they probably wanted more asses in front of computer screens than they did television screens.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the whole hype machine. I mean, this started with when Vladimir Guerrero was going to be called up earlier this season. And it was like the hype machine started a week before he came up, right? And then it was 2 days before his debut, and the hype. Oh my God, this is coming up on Friday on MLB Network, and here, the debut of Vladimir Guerrero, and he goes like 0 for 4 or 1 for 4. Just the overhyping and the branding of these players, the pimping of the fucking brand. Instead of a ball player, you're a brand name. And you can see it, you can feel it. You can see it on the red carpet when you got Christian Yelich standing there with his skinny fucking scarecrow legs wearing looks like he ought to be pimping himself out as a male hooker in Vegas. And what are you wearing? And look at the chain. And I don't want to I don't care about any of this. You're a fucking ball player. I'd like to see Ted Williams ass rape you and after he beats your skull in.
Can you imagine
judge's court?
Imagine Ty Cobb walking the red carpet.
I'd love to fucking see that. I would
what the
love
fuck did you just ask me?
I love this game. I have followed this game since I'm a kid. I know more about it than anybody I know. And this shit that I've been seeing, this branding, this pimping of the brand name, I can't stand it. I don't know. I'm moving. I find myself, I haven't done like one of the baseball podcasts in a month and a half. And that's a good reason why. It's part of the reason why I can't sit here and watch baseball like I used to be able to, because all I'm hearing is how Bryce Harper is one of the biggest brands in baseball and how Mike Trout should be a bigger brand than he is because he plays in Los Angeles. I got to hear about what car you're driving or how much money you're going to be making or how much. I want to hear about baseball. And there's less and less baseball being pumped into the baseball product than ever. It's all there's so much everything fucking else.
Well, I have a half-assed theory, and bear with me while I try to explain it and see if I can explain it in a way that makes sense to you and the rest of the guys and the audience ultimately. But I almost feel like the hardcore baseball fans a lot of them have went the sabermetrics route, and then the more casual baseball fans are more into the branding of the sport that you're talking about, because it allows them to get involved in everything. Yeah, the sport's almost secondary to, the cult, the drama surrounding the sport. What happened in the clubhouse?
Yeah.
Let's interview people. It used to be between innings. Now it's like during the inning.
Yeah,
and the action on the field is consequential.
Yeah, weren't all the players mic'd up yesterday?
They had an earpiece and a microphone. Freddie Freeman was talking to the booth while he was hitting against Verlander in the first inning, in the batter's box. They had two outfielders mic'd up at the same time during the game. Like they were on mic. I think Yelich had to run after a ball, make a catch, or try to make a catch, or something like that. While he was mic'd up, you can hear him grunting as he's running through the outfield. Actually, that was one of the things I actually liked about the All-Star game. I thought that was cool because Freddie Freeman's funny and he's facing Verlander, and you could almost hear him like wanting to say "oh fuck" when Verlander threw him a slider. That wasn't so bad, but yeah, it's the gimmickry. I think. Well,
but see,
that's driving me nuts.
But ultimately, if there's a place for gimmickry,
the All-Star game is it.
Yeah, I mean, if they start doing this in the postseason,
they won't ever do that.
Yeah,
they do. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done if they do.
I was going to say ever. Don't say ever, because we had the glowing puck in the NHL. I'm just saying, like.
Well, that wasn't on the ice. No. The puck wasn't radioactive and glowing on the ice. It was on the screen.
No, but what I'm getting at is, yes, the glow puck is gone, but they do have a lot of leftovers from them trying to bring in people who weren't interested in the sport, such as there's mics all over the glass, and it's funny because whenever there's a scrum, they got to cut the mics. Which it's then why do you have them there?
Exactly. It ties into like the ball juicing controversy Verlander talked about, I guess, in the last few days just before the All-Star game, is that MLB is trying to make itself more hip. It's trying to appeal to more younger people. Maybe it's the social media crowd. I think it's the ADD crowd. And
it is most definitely ADD crowd.
Yeah, one of the ways they're doing that is with basically re-embracing the steroid era, but instead of juicing the players, juicing the ball. It's a combination of things. It's not just that the ball is more aerodynamic, but that is part of it. It's a significant part of it. How many games have you watched where the Tiger? Maybe I don't know how many games you watch Tiger games, but how many little pop-up fly balls that look like they were going to be caught in the middle of the outfield and right field have sailed out in right field this year? It's like the announcers are seeing this. They're like, what the fuck just happened here? That ball looked like a pop-up off the bat, and it sailed out. It looks unnatural. If you watch baseball for any period of time, these fly balls that are flying out of the park, landing 6-8 rows into the seats for home runs, they look unnatural. It looks like there's something fucking wrong. It looks like the laws of physics have changed over the last 30 years.
They've turned on the fans.
Huh?
They turn on the fans in the stadium.
It's not, something like there's this huge jet stream, an artificial jet stream going over the top of the stadium to carry the ball into the seats. That's exactly what it looks like. It's fucking weird.
There's precedence for this in the sport itself. I mean, you have the dead ball era.
Yeah.
And then you have, the Babe Ruth era. I mean, there was, at one point, Babe Ruth hit more home runs in the season than, was it any other team? Yeah, and combined?
Yeah.
Or
No. Himself, he out-homered, I think, all but one. Either all the other teams or all but one other team.
Well, I mean, if you look up like someone like Ty Cobb's stats, what did he hit? Like 100 and some change home runs?
Yeah, probably. I'd have to look it up. But yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
Frank Home Run Baker got the nickname because he hit 12 one year.
And wasn't it after the 68 season they lowered the pitcher's mound to give the batter a better advantage? Because Gibson went out there and just did what Gibson did, which was dominate like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, there is. 87 was the same way. It was an anomaly year where the ball was clearly not reacting how it had. And yeah, they've been trying to figure out a way to make the game more appealing, more exciting, more like the NBA, where there's a lot more scoring and a lot more action on the field rather than strikeouts, ground balls, and fly balls.
Yeah, which is one of the beefs I've heard. Jim Rose. No, we're not talking about sideshows. Jim Roman, he had this little hot take on sports radio today, and he was like, a 4-3 game, 23 combined strikeouts. No one wants to watch that. And it's like, wait a minute. I like watching dominating pitchers go out there and dominate the batters. I love that because that is the mind game between. First of all, the mind game between the pitcher and the batter is part of what makes the game so much fun. That's why I love the postseason coverage when you don't get these wide shots where you get the close-ups of the pitcher's eyes as he's staring in, and then a close-up of the batter's eyes. And sometimes you can see visible fear in the batter's eyes because, they're like, fuck. Oh, shit, I hope I guess right.
I think baseball is falling victim to what all sports are falling victim to. This day and age, everybody has a very, very short attention span. And me and Rich have went at this, and it's a dying area, the old guard, yada, 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 in every sport. Hockey especially. If there's not that Superman to follow, people don't go. People don't pay attention to it. We could sit here for days and talk about the players of old. On any team, you can name any team, any sport in the 90s, we could pick a player. And then as time went on, those people have retired, what have you, and they tried to build up the new players that are coming, and we're just not getting it. And then, the further we go, the less players there are to build up. In basketball it was LeBron James. In football, it's Tom Brady. In hockey, it's Rich's favorite player, Crosby. And in baseball, it's
Trout, Harper.
Trout and Harper.
Right. So you've got very few people on a lot of teams that they're trying to build up. So they have to do something. So they're trying to make the action better.
The problem is that if they want more offense, they're instead of I don't know if they want more offense, bottom line. They want more goals scored, more runs scored, more touchdowns scored, more points in basketball. That's what they want. They've decided that defense, pitching, these things are that's what old people want. No one wants to watch a pitcher's duel. Like, are you kidding me?
I think they think that's the answer. Well, I think that's their answer to not having as much talent as they used to have.
The problem in my mind is changing the sport to fit trying to get the outcome you want. If pitchers are dominating right now, then let this be the era of the dominating pitcher. So fucking be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, baseball's not going anywhere ultimately. I mean, baseball still rakes in money, even though a lot of stadiums are, let's say less than capacity, But, I mean, they're still putting asses in the seats. People are still watching the games at home. And on top of that, I think a lot of that has to do with inflated prices. We've talked about that. But also the experience of watching baseball at home with the modern day high def, huge TVs.
Better than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's almost, I would, unless you enjoy the accoutrement of being at the ballpark and everything that comes with it. Accoutrement? Am I saying it wrong? Am I saying the wrong word, guys?
No.
Accoutrement? What the fuck is that?
The atmosphere, the ambiance, whatever.
Am I the only one that's never heard that fucking word?
Yep.
I get. How the fuck did I say a word you don't know? You verbose fucking cocksucker.
I don't know. I'm just not used to that.
So I didn't make the shit up.
I thought you
It's a fancy way to say all the trimmings, Todd.
Accoutrement.
Of going to the ballpark, a lot of people rather just sit at home in their fucking, $600 recliner, on their 77-inch TV and 7.1 surround sound, and watch the game. And it doesn't. Even all that shit, even buying all that shit, is going to cost you less than a partial season ticket package to go along with parking, buying your drinks, even if you don't drink booze. $7 fucking Cokes, $5 hot dogs. Here in Detroit, we have the Comerica Park, home of the $20 hot and readies.
I was going to say the $14, $5 pizza.
Yeah. And that would be one thing. I was thinking about this earlier today. It's like, I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. At least you had the ambiance of the ballpark. I would go to Tiger Stadium at least once or twice a year just to sit in the ballpark, even if the team was shit. I would go up there, I'd buy a beer, I'd buy a fucking hot dog, I'd pay the money just to sit in that ballpark and absorb the atmosphere of Tiger Stadium. You don't get that at Comerica fucking Park.
No.
Comerica Park's like a mall. Same thing. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right. It's like the strip mall of
the last time I was at Tiger Stadium, the Big Hurt bounced a home run off my chest. It fucking hurt.
Yeah, but you know what? What's also missing is I'm old. I'm just old enough to remember this. My grandfather was a huge baseball fan. Like he'd go in, he'd buy a program, he'd keep score on it and shit. Like that was his thing, and he taught me to keep score. And it was a way to be engaged with the game, but between batters you could still talk and everything. But hey, when a guy's at bat, you pay attention. You know what I'm saying? You pay attention to the play on the field. Yeah. But it used to be like, hey, it's a Friday afternoon. What are we going to do tonight? I don't know. Let's go to let's just walk up to the ticket window, buy a ticket, and go to the Tigers game.
Yeah,
that's not. You have to plan that shit.
Unless you budget that shit out. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you live downtown, and if you're living downtown, you're balling because those are like $3,400 lofts down there that are within walking distance of Comerica Park. Money ain't a thing. You don't got to worry about parking. Yeah, you can go to a game like that, but I'm talking about people coming from the suburbs, 20, 30 miles away that would do this. Hey, it's Friday at 3:00. Tigers, play at 5. It's like in RoboCop. Come on, man. Tigers are in town tonight.
But this is also back in the day when you could get a bleacher ticket for $5.
Yeah, right. But even in 2005, you could get Skyline tickets at Comerica Park for $5. And in 2005, after the third inning, you can sit wherever the fuck you want. The ushers checked out at that point.
It's kind of like 2019.
Yeah, well, except for the Skyline tickets are like $22. Yeah.
Rich, have you been to the ballpark at all this year?
I haven't been in the ballpark since 2013.
Have either of you seen the crowds or lack thereof on TV?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I've seen. It looked like they drew a pretty good crowd for the Red Sox series last weekend, but that's because all those former Tigers were in there. Porcello pitched, Price pitched, J.D. Martinez.
I can tell you, in 2005 when I had a season ticket package. Opening day, Red Sox, Yankees, and the Giants were in town for interleague play, even though Bonds didn't play that season. Those were the only games that were packed. Of the 40 other games I had, maybe half capacity at best. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of used to that. I went to games in 2003. I've been there. And that's fine. That's fine for me because I love baseball and I like to go and I like to watch the game. And it sucks that my team sucks, but it's also nice to sit right behind home plate in a seat that would cost me $260 that I paid $5 for a Skyline seat for.
Yeah. We waxed nostalgic about Tiger Stadium, but one of the reasons that they tore it down was that it wasn't drawn dick in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were drawing 10, 12,000 people a night to that ballpark. So, it's real easy to feel the nostalgia for that old ballpark and the atmosphere and the history that was there. But people weren't showing up there either. I was working there in 95. I remember this specifically because the Indians were really good back at that point. And they were selling out Jacobs Field, as it was known then, every night. You could not get a seat at Jacobs Field for like 2 years. They sold out every home game because the team was that fucking good. And most of the fans that couldn't get seats in Cleveland
would just
truck their asses up to Tiger Stadium, and it was like you were at an Indians home game in Detroit because the Tiger fans just weren't showing up. They were being outdrawn by Indians fans.
Well, it's because you're talking about the Tigers in the 90s, sir.
Terrible teams. Terrible. Yeah, I get it, but it's not like they weren't drawing any more to Tiger Stadium. I mean, the team in the 90s, I'd take almost any team in the 90s over this piece of shit, okay? They weren't drawing any more back then at this classic ballpark than they are at the strip mall.
Well, Todd, let's put it all on the table. Would you take the 2003 Tigers over this team?
No, they're not that bad. No.
So you would rather go see this team than just go see the 2003 Tigers just to see a historically bad team.
Wait, what? I'd rather go see this team than the 2003 Tigers? I did go see the 2003 Tigers, actually, and I haven't gone to see this team. So
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I went to the
what
last
I'm
game
saying
of the season because I wanted to see them lose 120 games, and then they fucking won.
And then they celebrated like they won the World Series, which was kind of
they started throwing their gear into I remember they were throwing their gloves and their cleats and their hats and shit into the stands behind the dugout after the game. Like, yay, we didn't lose 120. Here, have a sock. Anyway, so what was the question again? Would I rather see this team or the 2003 team?
Yeah, would you rather see just a team that's 3-4 games ahead of the worst team in baseball at this point?
Yep.
Versus a historically bad team.
Well, this could turn out to be a historically bad team. Anyway, because they are, let's see, you're right. They were, like the Baltimore Orioles are supposed to be one of the, like you're talking a historically bad team. They predicted the Orioles are going to lose like 115 games this year, right? Major League record for losses is 120. The Mets way back when. And the Tigers, like you said, it looks like they are 1-5. They are 3 games behind the Baltimore Orioles for the first round draft pick, for the first overall pick. So the Orioles are 3 games behind them in the standing. And this team, the Orioles aren't going to be making too many trades between now and the end of the month. The Tigers are going to lose their closer. That's almost for sure. They're going to lose their right fielder if they have any fucking sense in them. And they're probably going to lose their best pitcher as well. So, a little less than half the season remaining. This team could lose between 110 and 120 games pretty easy.
Yeah,
they're on pace right now to lose like 108.
If they carbon copy the second half of the season, they're going to lose 114 games.
Yeah. Well, they're not quite. They're a little over halfway. You're looking at the 57 losses. They're a little over halfway right now. They're right around 108, 109 pace. To lose. So it's not a stretch to say they're going to lose 115 games once they get rid of Shane Green, Castellanos, and probably Boyd.
Well, we signed Al Avila to a multi-year deal, so
he's fine.
Is there? Well, hold on, we'll get to that. Is there a trade market for Castellanos?
No. Let's look at his stats. I've got his stats up here. Because he was one of the guys I was about ready to rip on. He's hitting a whopping 282 with a 468 slugging percentage, an on-base percentage of 342, which isn't terrible, but it is pretty bad for what is he wants to be he's probably a 5 or a 6 hitter on a really good team, right? And he's only got 9 home runs. He's on pace to not even hit 20 home runs this year at 60 RBIs.
Yeah.
This is your number 3 hitter, 2-3 hitter. This is the guy hitting ahead of Cabrera. the impotent Miguel. There isn't really much going on with Castellanos. He doesn't play defense worth a dick. He doesn't run real well. He's got 2 stolen bases. Who the fuck wants a guy who hits 282 with marginal power, strikes out a lot, and can't play defense?
And he's 27, so he's allegedly in the prime of his career.
Right.
So it doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, the guy, I said this on my podcast, I think one of the first ones I did. The guy's checked out. He was into being in Detroit a year ago. He was trying to be a team leader. He was vocal. He was slamming the ball over the park last year. He wanted Detroit to sign him to a long-term deal.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit doesn't want him. The organization does not want him long-term. For whatever reason, I don't know if I agree or disagree with it, whatever, doesn't matter. And he's psychologically checked out. Have you ever watched him in the interviews after the game on Fox Sports Detroit?
Oh, I've listened to the interviews, but yeah.
He's an asshole. He just basically, he fucks with the reporters, like, why are you asking me this question? Gives them like one-word answers and just sits there and looks at them. The guy's bitter.
I'm waiting for his Barry Bonilla moment where he's like, anytime, bro, anytime.
Right.
Challenges someone to a fight who's in the media.
Yeah, the guy has hired Scott Boras. He's steamrolling toward free agency at the end of the year. That's where his head is. He doesn't give a shit about playing in Detroit. He doesn't give a shit about whether he's traded. He doesn't give a shit about his trade value. The problem is when he hits free agency this year, who the fuck's going to pay him anything?
Oh, he'll give a shit then. That's
yeah, exactly.
That's the biggest story coming out of this season so far here locally, like in the Metro Detroit area, is the fact that he basically took the team to task, and Al Avila, especially to task, because last year he was like, well, they didn't sign me to a long-term contract, but they didn't trade me, and Avila come out and said there was no market for him.
Yeah,
no one wanted him. What do you want me to do?
Get shit for J.D. Martinez? What are we going to get for you?
And, of course, a reporter from 97.1, our local FM, sports station, stuck a mic in his face and said, so how do you feel about that? And he went off and he's like, look, I don't know where I don't know where I stand as far as free agency, but I know where I stand as far as this team goes.
And you can't, I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw that interview. I have no problem with anything he said there. He's being honest. My problem is the fact that he psychologically is not on the field. You saw what he did, what he's capable of. You saw it the first half of last year, into the second half a little bit. He had a really good year. The guy can hit. He's just psychologically absent. He's vacant. And it's following him onto the field. That's what bothers me.
And to me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just going to bother anybody who's trading for him. Do you think if we can see it, do you think the GM of the Yankees isn't seeing that? You think the GM of the fucking, I don't know, pick a team that's a marginal contender, maybe the Phillies. Do you think they're not seeing it? Do you think they're going to give anything for a fucking a head case who can't catch the ball in right field?
And see, that's exactly what I was going to say. The fact that he has checked out is not a strike against the team, it's a strike against him.
Absolutely.
The problem is, and I know that we're getting into the minutia of who his agent is, Boras is a notorious asshole who will try to get his clients to think one thing, and then but the thing he's trying to get them to think flies in the face of the reality that they're facing. And I think that he might be buying into the what his agent's telling him hype a little too much and sitting back in the buckwheat going, yeah, well, my history speaks for itself. So just because I've checked out now.
Yeah, you're writing your history right now, asshole. I mean,
exactly.
They're not going to get shit for him. I don't think they'll trade him. I think that they want to, and I think they might just to get the process moving on. Maybe to put another outfielder, maybe to put somebody else in right field, to get looks at somebody else. They might do it just for that, but he is not going to be the guy that you're going to add a centerpiece for the rebuild with.
Well, no. And let me say this. I'm because I want to move on from the Tigers and get to the rest of the league, but I know that the Tigers are all our home team.
There's a lot to talk about with this team.
I know. And maybe you should have a special send off baseball podcast where we come on and talk just Tigers, but I do want to ask this question as an overall question about the state of this team and this franchise at the moment. Is this a dysfunctional franchise bordering on broken at this point?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's not. Al Avila, a lot of people, I don't know. I remember where you were on Jim Leland, Chris. Fire Leland, fire Leland. It was like your fucking equal pay chant like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It was fun. So do you think they shouldn't have extended Avila, Chris?
What's he done?
What's he had to work with?
I think it starts at the top, quite honestly. I don't think Chris Ilitch cares about this team like his dad did. Well, so I'll give you the what's he had to work with point.
Yeah. The thing is that he's trying to do, and he said this repeatedly, and I believe him. He's the guy who was responsible for J.D. Martinez. So what's he done? He rebuilt J.D. Martinez, for one thing. That bodes well for his ability to evaluate talent. And what they're trying to do, he said this multiple times, is they're not just trying to rebuild the Tigers, they're trying to rebuild the entire organization. The entire organization was atrophied by the Dombrowski spend, trade model of competing, which was fine. We all enjoyed that while it was here. But it drained the organization of everything. And they have had to rebuild it. They've had to retool because they're not going to be able to pay a Prince Fielder contract. They're not going to be able to offer that Max Scherzer contract moving forward. There's not going to be another, thank God there's not going to be another Miguel Cabrera contract.
You know, it's funny.
They've got to rebuild from the bottom of it. They've got to rebuild and craft their own talent from within. They've got to create an environment where the team understands fundamentals and understands how to play the game. That's how you build teams from within. And they have to do the whole organization.
It's funny you bring that up because there was a rather contentious interview with 97.1 that Kirk Gibson gave about the re-signing of Avila. Okay, I know his son goes by Avila, but God damn it, everyone around here calls him Avila, and whatever.
I can't say Avila.
He says Avila.
I don't care.
Okay, whatever. His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Second use for this fucking podcast. Anyways, Gibson gave a rather contentious interview, and it wasn't that it was Gibby being Gibby, which we all know Gibby can be a contentious cocksucker. That's one of the things that makes him so lovable. But it was because he was being challenged by a rather asshole-ish person who does cover the Tigers here locally. And, you know, basically it came down to, Gibby basically said what you said. He said, look, you know, he inherited a franchise that had been decimated by the win now attitude. And now he's trying to rebuild with rubble and scraps. Yeah. And the question that was posed to Gibby was, so what, because Gibby said, everybody wait, we will get back to where we were for those, you know, that almost magical, almost decade that was magical for us in the mid 2000s to, you know, roughly mid 2010s. And the question that was posed to him was, what makes you think that? And Gibby's example was they're teaching good fundamental baseball to them, to these players that are coming up through the minors at that level. Yeah. And of course the guy asked, well, I need an example. And he goes, okay, perfect example. Goodrum was on first, count was 2 and 3. He ran on 2 and 3. Guy at bat hit a single. Goodrum made it to third. That's the base running that you didn't see before. It was station to station before. If it wasn't, boom, we're going to hit a home run. It was, you had guys on the base path who couldn't make it from first to third. He has been savaged in the local press as using that as his example. My question to you, Todd, is that fair that he's savaged? Or is that a legitimate point he brought up that's being overlooked because we tend to overlook things like the fundamentals anymore. We want to see the long ball. We want to see, you know, whatever.
For one thing, the reporter that asked that question, I need an example of fundamentals, shouldn't be writing about baseball for a major publication or even doing interviews for a radio station. If you need to ask what a fundamental is, who the fuck are you? How the fuck did you get this job? Going first to third is a really poor example of a fundamental. I'll give you that. I'll give you a better one is Christian Stewart. Lollygagging after a little base hit. Somebody took an extra base a couple of weeks ago, wound up scoring, might have been the difference in the game. He was taken to task when he got into the clubhouse. If you watch him play left field now, he runs his ass off after every base hit in left field. That's the kind of thing they're talking about. Hitting the cutoff, man. Taking the extra base when you can, that's fine, but there are a lot of fundamentals that are more important than going first to third because you're fast. Nico Goodrum's fast.
But what Gibby brought up was that the third base coach was, aware of who he had running from first, gave him the go-ahead sign. He picked up the sign. He rounded second the proper way versus how Prince Fielder or V-Mart or V-Mart would have back in the day, or even Mags. But
it's just a lot of the things they've had to do. They've had to put people in place throughout the minor leagues. I don't know if they've talked about this up there in the mighty Detroit or not, but they've had to replace a lot of the coaches, a lot of the people who were working with different organizations like in West Michigan, in Lakeland, also in Erie, maybe Toledo. As far as these younger players coming out of college and these people in the lower minor leagues, they've replaced some of the coaches that are actually teaching the fundamentals. They've had to rebuild not only the players, but the coaching, the entire organization throughout the minor league.
Well, if you look at someone like McCann, who left the Tigers last year, or after last year.
Oh, I haven't shooted that horn yet. Sorry.
His swing, when he went to the White Sox, they've reworked his swing, and boom, he's having an all-star year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't know what happened. I think that a lot of what McCann's thing is that well, first off, let me get this out of the way. His first full year with Detroit, I told people he was going to be an all-star someday. And people laughed at me. People have been laughing at me. I said, he'd still be an all-star. You better watch out for that guy. Yeah, that kid can hit. If he ever figures it out, he's going to be an all-star. He's an all-star. I am Todd Stradamus. The thing with James McCann is that last year, he remember Jacoby Jones back in April?
Yeah.
You remember how he couldn't lay off anything out of the strike zone?
Mm-hmm.
He's swinging at every breaking ball, like bouncing in the dirt. That's what James McCann was doing last year. He's not doing that this year. And if you look at what happened to Jacoby Jones, as soon as he started getting an idea of pitch recognition, laying off shit and not swinging at absolutely everything coming toward him, his batting average started to skyrocket. The same things happened with McCann. Plus, he's not playing at Comerica National Park there in Chicago. He's playing in a hitter's park there. There's a lot of reasons why McCann's gotten better, most of which has to do with discipline and pitch recognition. And maybe they have reworked his swing a little bit. They did the same thing with Jones. So if you want to look at it that way, if you want to, give Chicago credit and deride the Tigers for reworking McCann, what about what they did with Jacoby? I'm just saying, what about what they did with Jacoby then? Because the same thing happened here with him this year.
I'm just quoting what the beat writers and the beat press have said. If I was coming off as I was saying that,
no. That's my reply to them then. Either way.
I understand.
Yeah. It's going to be a process. The original question was, do I think that Al Avila deserved an extension? I have no problem with it. He's shown me, and I have no problem with Gardenhire being here either. Neither one of those two have had anything to work with, and they have not shown me any reason why they are inept. I think they're doing a fine job with what they've had to work with. Get back to me in 2 years.
Well,
right now, why not?
It's Gardy's first season. It's a little early to fucking sit here and poo-poo. Is it his second year?
Yeah, he was here last year.
Oh, my bad. Jesus Christ. Time flies when you have dementia. All right. So, but no, still what I'm saying, like, he was handed a dumpster fire. Everybody chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that there's people that they're calling for, heads because they're pissed off, but a rebuild, my fear is this rebuild is going to be, instead of a 4 to 5 year rebuild before they start, being a contender, at least for the playoffs, is that we're looking at 7 to 8 years.
No, I don't think so. I think it depends on what happens. I think this is a really pivotal time as far as what happens with Shane Green and with Matt Boyd and what they extract from the trade market, because Green's value is never going to be higher. They haven't had a trade piece that's this valuable in a really, really long time.
By any metrics, by any old school stats, Green is essentially getting very lucky this year.
Yeah, he is. He's not been that good. He's been a lot better than I gave him credit for, admittedly. But yeah, he's due for a regression.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree with you. You have to move him at this point.
Soon.
Absolutely. Sooner rather than later. Don't wait to the fucking last day of the trade deadline.
Wait until he blows a 5-run lead in the 9th inning.
Yeah, because once that happens, then a lot of GMs around the league are going to go, well, there it is. That's what they do,
But you could theoretically package Boyd and Green, send them to a contender, maybe Milwaukee. I don't know if Milwaukee needs another reliever. Maybe Philadelphia. They need starting pitching and bullpen help. I mean, somewhere. You could probably package the two of them together and get one really high-end prospect or maybe a couple. And that could sort of infuse some offense into the minor leagues. That could give you a piece to go along with this. Who's this kid they drafted last month?
What the fuck? I can tell you Mize was last year, but yeah, not this year.
Riley Green was his name. High school kid, Riley Green. Took him
that's right. Yep. 18 and supposed to be the best athlete in the draft.
Yeah, best bat. And he came out of high school as well. And he his first game as a pro, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Not too fucking shabby. So they may have another piece that he may be the guy who slides into right field at some point. If you can get somebody who's maybe a mid-first round pick-ish for Green and Boyd, plus maybe another mid-range prospect in there too. Then you've got some hitters. Then you can bring some hitters into the organization, and then you've got these top-end pitching prospects. And the Tigers have done really well with that. I mean, Matt Manning, and you've got Casey Mize has not disappointed. His shoulder's fine, thank God. He's throwing simulated games and everything. And Faedo. And there's a couple other pitchers down there that just aren't here yet. They're not ready yet.
Now,
you infuse some offense into there. I don't think it'll take 8 years.
Okay. Last question about the Tigers, then we have to move on to the rest of the league. And this is the only reason I ask this is because you are a Tigers fan. There's a minor controversy that's being blown out of proportion, in my opinion, going on with the team right now about Cabrera and his leadership ability. And basically, long story short, is he was asked about it, and he said, because apparently he's been arguing with umps about balls and strikes a lot more. He said, because we're the team we are right now, we're not getting the benefit of the doubt on the calls. That's my way of, and me saying this is my way of stepping up and being a leader and saying we have to basically overcome that. Your opinion on that statement? That's a paraphrase. I'm paraphrasing, by the way.
Whatever. Miguel Cabrera needs to cash his checks and shut the fuck up. His leadership ability has never been there. He's never been a leader on this team. The only way he's ever led this team is with his performance. When he was out hitting the ball all over the ballpark, knocking the walls down. He's hitting right now, he's got 5 home runs and 283 at-bats. 5 home runs and almost 300 at-bats. That's a home run every 60 at-bats, if my math is correct. For him to think he's going to turn himself into a $30 million a year, light-hitting, fat-ass Tony Gwynn slap hitter, and think he's going to be a leader with his words, all of a sudden, he doesn't even speak English. Or if he does, you can't understand it. I appreciate what he thinks he's going to do or what he thinks he's trying to do. He's not that guy. He has never been that guy. He's never been a leader on this team. He was not a leader on this team when he was hitting. Now he's an albatross. He's a financial cancer for the next 5 years, and he thinks he's just going to sit. He thinks leadership, when you're making $30 million a year, hitting 5 home runs, you think leadership is belching shit at the umpire from the dugout? Shut up. Just shut up. Cash your checks. Eat your fucking hot dogs. Hit your 8 home runs this year and have a nice off season.
Okay, fair enough.
You know who the leader on that team is? If you're looking for one, if you're looking for a team leader, probably Jacoby Jones. At some point, he's probably a year or 2 away from it, but he's got the right energy. He's got the right hustle. If this guy that's been hitting for the last 6 weeks, if that's the guy that's showing up, that's an all-star eventually. And with that defense and the way he hustles, he can lead by example at some point. Other than that, this team doesn't have one.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
SuperValue online shopping delivers convenience. And now with €15 off your first online shop over €75, we deliver value too. Order before 12 noon and you can get your shopping delivered the very same day. Shop online now at supervalue.ie. It's got to be SuperValue.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sport G.
Let's move to the AL East.
I think Earl's dead.
No, I'm not dead.
Oh, there he is.
Let's move to the AL East. Here's my question, and it's only because, you know, Sox Nation and everything. Are they out of it this year? Like, is it official?
No, not yet.
Oh, they're only 9 games back.
Yeah, where are they at in the wild card? That's probably their most realistic path to the playoffs. They're not doing real hot. They're only 2 games out of the wild card right now, so they're not out of anything yet. And that team is too talented, I think. Again, it all depends on what they do at the deadline as well. They do need pitching help. That's why the Tigers and the Boyd-Green combination would fit really well in Boston, depending on what they would be willing to give up.
And I mean, Dombrowski historically has been a pretty loyal guy to guys that you know. He's I don't know if Boyd and Green were brought up under Dombrowski or brought there under Dombrowski. Were they? He traded
for both of them. Yeah.
Okay. Then he's been a rather loyal guy to quote unquote his guys. Mm-hmm. That's why Leland was brought in after, you know, the let's go Trammell Tigers.
Yeah. He hired Mario Impemba too. I mean, he is a loyal guy. So as long as Mario doesn't choke anybody. So no, the Red Sox aren't out of anything. They may be marginally out of the division. The Yankees are finally starting to get a little more healthy. You know, that's been the story of the year for me, has been the Yankees and all the injuries they've had, and they're sitting at 57-31, 6.5 game lead in the East with all those injuries. If they get healthy, you know, there's another team that could use another starting pitcher. Now, Boyd would look good in Yankee Stadium. He's a fly ball. Well, it's a lot of speed. He'd do well in Yankee Stadium, actually. Do well with that team. So, I mean, the Red Sox they've underperformed. It reminds me of one of those cases like, you know, you have a team that comes out, wins a World Series. The next year they have this hangover. All of a sudden something happens. They get their V8 around mid-July or early August, and all of a sudden everything clicks and they roll into the playoffs.
They get through
everybody away.
They get through the June swoon, and yeah.
So I'm never going to write that team off.
Well, I mean, it's just, in my opinion, the team that shocked me the most in the AL East is the Rays. Like, I expected the Rays to be like, you know, down at the bottom with the Orioles.
Yeah, they won 90 games last year. I mean, the Rays do this every year. I don't know how. This is like Houdini. You know, one thing about the Rays, did you see the thing where they were talking about trying to split their games between Tampa and Montreal?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
because
they
fucking God.
They had a game this year where 1,400 people showed up.
There was a game when they were in first place, I think, and 5,000 people were in attendance.
Yeah.
I said earlier, I was having a conversation with somebody else about this, and I said, you know what? That is an aberration to even suggest that a major league team would split their home games between Canada and Florida. If that's your problem, if you can't bring enough people into your goddamn stadium to watch a first place team, fuck moving, fuck relocating, fuck this splitting of the home team. Just contract the fucking team. Just blow it the fuck up. Hold a player draft where Blake Snell can be drafted by the Orioles. Maybe we'll get Parker Meadows. You know, just I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this lack of support in Tampa. They don't want a baseball team. They don't give a shit if they have a baseball team.
Yeah, they're fine with the Bucks and the Lightning.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I got apoplectic when I saw that. And this is coming from, I think, one of the executives, one of the, like the CEO or the GM of the Rays. This isn't coming out of fucking talk radio. Well, we could split our games between here and mom. Fuck you. Blow it up. Be for it right now. Implode Tropicana Field upon that entire organization. Be happy with it.
All right, so the AL Central. Ooh. I personally think the Twins are where they're at because they have to play the White Sox, the Tigers, and the Royals most of the time. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they're good. they're really good. They've got more home runs. I think they're on pace to set the major league record for home runs. The Twins, of all people.
But I think home runs is a non-issue right now because of the balls.
Yeah, it's not. You're onto something there. It's not as an impressive statistic as it would have been 10 years ago. But
right now there's 3,691 home runs, almost 3,700 home runs.
Yeah. Seriously? Yeah, they're on pace for like almost 7,000. Like 6,700, I think, is what they're on pace for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Twins they're not bad. I mean, Cleveland's come on. They're starting to play better baseball. So there may be a division race there at the end. I think Cleveland's, they won 6 in a row now. Going into the All-Star break, they probably were really pissed off to see that happen. But no, Cleveland, I don't know, with Carrasco, he was diagnosed, I guess, with leukemia.
Yeah.
But he thinks he's going to come back and pitch in September. I hope he's right. I hope he gets healthy. I hope they can treat it. But imagine if he does come back and he's effective in September, what that'll do for that team. That would be the feel-good, motivational story of at least individual story of the year, most likely.
So the AL West.
Astros, the end.
Yeah. Any surprises here?
No. Yeah, say Tyler Skaggs. That sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Trout's still the best player in baseball, still playing behind a curtain in L.A., relatively speaking.
I'm sorry. The Rangers pitcher who died. You just said his name.
Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs. Yeah.
Oh, Angels. My bad. I sorry. I'm sitting here looking at the Rangers and said, yeah. Anyways, real quick. Any word of what happened there?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. I was just
reminds
wondering.
me of the Daryl Kyle thing. Like a heart attack. A lot that's happened more than once. If somebody maybe didn't realize or understand or even know that they had some sort of cardio issue. He's 27, man.
Yeah, 27. I think either drugs or something you didn't have diagnosed,
or suicide.
Yeah, but that's been ruled out. So is foul play.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I usually don't hear of a drug overdose. Among athletes, not too much. I don't know.
Usually not that young, at least.
No.
Hey, Todd, is Chapman that good of a pitcher, or is it just me?
Roldis Chapman?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You should get in the box against him and find out.
Yeah, I told my wife on the All-Star game when he came in the 9th, I was like, oh, this game's over.
Yeah, He's he might be one of those guys you need to start thinking about for the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm thinking, man, he throws a slider at 85 miles an hour. It is a disgusting slider. Not a slider. Isn't it? Yeah, it's the slider's about 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He can reach over 100 on his fastball.
Yeah. He was hitting 105 a few years ago.
Yeah, this guy is just not fair.
Now, forgive me because I was never good at picking up any type of breaking ball, but a slider comes at you and it looks like a slower fastball that breaks at the last second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's faster than a curveball.
So in other words, you think, okay, I'm dialed in on it, and then it breaks down and away if it's a right-handed pitcher and you're a right-handed batter.
Yeah, it depends on the pitcher. A lot of guys can get it to drop. A lot of guys can get it to slide, just like move horizontally. Depends on the pitcher, but the basic effect is that it's in between the speed of a curveball and a fastball, and it breaks.
Okay.
And it's hard. Traditionally, they used to think it was hard on your elbow.
And some pitchers are really good at it. Chapman's, it's disgusting, but so is Kershaw.
Yeah, Kershaw. Verlander's come up with. he refuses to. I don't know if I don't know if it's a cutter or a slide. That thing that he threw to fucking Freddie Freeman though, that had to be a slider.
Nasty.
That one he struck him out on. Did you see that?
Yes.
That was sick. That was so sick.
You're just looking at it and go, "Oh, that's cheating. That's cheating, right? It's so unfair. It's cheating."
Yeah.
See, with Verlander, that used to be his 12-6.
Yeah.
You know, as Jim Price called it, the yellow hammer. Yeah.
I did see a story while we're talking about Verlander. I saw a story that somebody had asked him if he wanted. He was open to finishing his career in Detroit.
Yeah. Believe me, that made big news around here for like a day or so.
Yeah. And he's about that age. You know, the Tigers maybe 3 or 4 years from contending. He just signed another, I think, an extension with the Astros. I'd like to see that.
And of course, his you know, he wants to pitch till 45. His idol being
Nolan.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan. So
I've said it on this show before. I'll never ever doubt anything that guy says. If he says he's going to do something, I'll be all right. I believe you.
Look, man. I mean, dude, he literally got up and said, "Everybody, calm down. I haven't pitched Game 5 yet." You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like
yeah.
He said that, and on top of that, he's like, "By the way, I'm fucking Kate Upton, and I got the pictures online to prove it."
I got the video online to prove it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he just rolled it with it like a fucking like water off a duck's back. Yeah, I'm fucking Kate Upton online. So what? You ain't.
even though he's got a rather womanly looking ass, I'm just saying.
Don't hate me because you ain't me.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just, the one thing I always think about. I hate the economics of baseball because there is no way in hell that guy should have ever left Detroit. I'm glad he got his ring. I'm glad everything's going well for him in Houston, but he should have stayed a Tiger for his entire career.
It's a different era, man. I mean, even 20 years ago, 25, well, maybe 30 years ago, he probably had a much better shot at it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
It is.
All right, so I don't know why. Maybe it's because I used to live in New York, but the Mets fascinate me in the way that train wrecks fascinate me and natural disasters fascinate me. Is there a team that has tried harder and succeeded less?
Nationals.
Nationals. I was about to say, yeah, sorry. My bad. Yeah. I answered my own question. Yeah. But, you know, so much shit was talked about what the Mets did in the offseason, what the Mets have, and 13 and a half out? Really?
Yeah.
10 under 500? Really?
To be fair, they got Robinson Cano and they picked up Edwin Diaz. Diaz has sucked. He's blown like 12 saves this year. Cano's hit a home run his first at bat with the Mets and hasn't done shit since then. I mean, the two major cogs they picked up have sucked ass. Is that the Mets' fault or is that the players' fault?
Hey, is Syndergaard broken?
Is he broken?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's been very underwhelming this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him throw. I saw he pitched against the Tigers when the Tigers were in New York, right? Yeah, he did. They missed DeGrom, and the Tigers beat him, if I remember right. I don't know. It's one of those things. Maybe it's just a team thing. Maybe it's a psychological thing. Maybe the team has Castellano-itis. You know what I mean? Maybe they're all checked out. Maybe there's something psychologically that's just like a cancer within that club. I know the GM went down and was throwing chairs or something, right? Went down and went to the manager's office and was throwing a fit because of the way the bullpen was performing and wound up making news and headlines. There's something wrong with just the entire team chemistry there, I think, and that's probably affecting what a lot of these guys how they're performing, I would think.
From what I heard, it was compared to the Billy Bean, "What are you dancing for?" You know, and he's like, and he just smashed the boombox and he goes, "That's what losing sounds like." You know, that type of attitude. Yeah. Which is, you know, fair. Hey, what are you fucking dancing for, asshole? We just lost. You know, that's fair to me. You know, we didn't get.
I don't know.
We didn't lose and get. And our coach didn't take us out for ice cream after we lost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I don't know how Mickey Callaway. I don't know how he's still manager in New York with that team, 40-50. Barely ahead of their. Yeah, they're in fourth place, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you know how he's still manager? Because no one outside of Queens gives a fuck how that team does.
Yeah.
True.
That's it.
So-
That's why.
Hey, question for you guys: did any of us see the Braves coming?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe. Sorry, Todd. I'm going to swing from your nuts a little bit. I believe Todd brought them up in the preview show he was on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're.
In fact, I believe
good
you
young
said the
team.
Nationals. You said that this is the end of the Nationals' fake run this year.
Yeah, they do. They need to do something or shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've gotten better. I did see the Braves coming. I didn't see Keuchel. Well, yeah, actually, I think I did. I think I did mention Keuchel either going to the Braves, the Phillies, or the Brewers. Picking up Keuchel is going to help them a lot. They probably should have signed Kimbrel as well, but he's another guy that Shane Green would look good down in Atlanta. You know, they can trade for him and they can shore up the bullpen. That's a good young team. I mean, Freddie Freeman, Acuna. They brought McCann back. They've got Ozzie Albies. They've got a Dansby Swanson. I mean, that's a good Markakis in right field. Yeah,
Alonso.
He's a Met. But no, I know who you're thinking of. It's the other rookie.
Oh, that's right. We moved on to Atlanta.
Pounded the snot out of the ball. Thanks
for listening to the podcast, Ice.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think Tyler Austin, is that his name? That sound right? They've got some other rookie who was set like a franchise record for home runs for a rookie down there. Yeah, they're good. They're for real. They're going to be around for a while. Nationals, they've gotten better. They've actually won 8 out of 10, I think. And Scherzer is, I think, kind of off the trading block now. They were considering trading him, starting the rebuild, starting the retooling. And I don't think that's going to happen at this point. I think they're still in it. So we'll see.
Do we pontificate on the NL Central, even though we did earlier?
I already did. It's wide open.
Yeah.
There's no favorite. The only team that I can see that won't win that division is Pittsburgh. I don't see how Pittsburgh can win it. That's the team I'd like to see win it, but I can't see Pittsburgh. I'm pulling it out. Any of those other teams, though, I could.
And then the NL West. Shocking. The Dodgers.
Yeah.
Again.
I would like to see the San Diego Padres, perhaps. I don't know.
Wait,
go down.
Okay. I thought you were about to say something different. I was going to say, wait a minute. I remember what you said last time you were on.
I can't stand the Padres. I hate them. It's just. I think I did a world famous Todzilla rant about the Padres in the other podcast. I'll leave it alone. I like that Tatis kid, Fernando Tatis. I like him. I just can't stand Manny Machado. Hate him.
Yeah, Machado has not, like, in my opinion, he went to San Diego and it was like, okay, all right, is this going to be the turnaround? No. He's still Manny being Manny.
Yeah,
it's just a different Manny.
And every other team that didn't sign him is going, we made the right call.
Yeah, he's had a good year. I mean, he's been really good out there. It's just him. Yeah, it's like, ew. He reminds me. I probably said this in the preseason thing. He reminds me of Alex Rodriguez. Except when Alex Rodriguez was young, he was kind of charismatic. He turned into a dick later on, right? And Manny Machado's just been a cunt since he came into the league.
Yeah,
throwing bats. You remember the brawls and shit his first couple of years. There's something about him that he's got this face and his attitude that you just want to punch. Oh, I'm never going to be a Mr. Hustle. You're playing in the World Series, asshole. Yeah, you need to run. Can't stand him.
There's something. There's a reason that Pete Rose bet on his own team, yet is still respected and called Charlie Hustle. You know, and Manny Machado just doesn't get that. You know,
he never will. He never will. He's kind of like he reminds me of Manny Ramirez in a lot of ways, except Ramirez was a lot more talented, at least on with a bat.
I would say Ramirez was, and you know, I understand. I'm probably gonna. I'm predicting I'm gonna take some heat for this statement. He had a childish love of the game, though, as when he was into it. Whereas Machado almost acts like, unless I'm fucking doing something amazing, let me fucking get out here and plaster on this bullshit and go through the paces yet again.
Yeah.
And that's, that's even with Miggy, he was never a leader, but he was out there holding court at first base. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, he still does that too. He has fun. He looks like he's enjoying the game.
Yeah, and I mean, and I understand it doesn't necessarily translate to stats, but if you're out there like, oh God, I got to do this again, then and you're putting up stats like him, well, you know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time before Machado comes down to earth, and then who the fuck's going to want him and want to deal with that shit? And it's not a leader in the clubhouse.
No. Oh no. I can't imagine him being a good clubhouse presence.
No, I'd imagine him being more of a cancer than anything.
Yeah, or just a neutral presence maybe,
and that's at best. You know what I'm saying? Like, just leave him alone. He's over there, just nothing one way or the other. Now, once again, this is one of those teams that I have this weird fascination with. Not good or bad, just because of what they did in the early 2010s, is the Giants. I understand they're, 41-48. They're doing better than, our home team, as we talked about at length. But is this team that's supposedly in rebuild or retool mode, or is this just a team that doesn't have an identity and is looking?
They're looking to move Bumgarner. So yeah. I don't know if they're looking to move him. They're open to moving him for the right package. So if you're getting rid of Madison Bumgarner, you're in retooling mode. And don't forget that, 41-48 isn't great, but you got to remember that they had the pick right behind the Tigers a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just under 500 right now, whereas the Tigers are not.
Yeah.
So that team, it's a weird team. Man, they seem to rise and fall rapidly. Like they were winning the World Series every other year a little while ago, like in the early 10s. And those off years, they were bad. But they'd come right back the next year, and they'd be in the World Series again. So, there's something there. I don't know how they do that, but they're one of my favorite teams in the National League. I want to see them good again. I really do.
Hey, Todd. What happened to that kid from the Reds? That Dietrich kid.
I haven't heard anything on him lately. Is he vanished?
Yeah, I saw him for like a week, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, he might be hurt. I don't know. Yeah, he was like all the talk of baseball for a little while. He was hitting like Barry Bonds with at least the power, 240 batting average, and then I haven't heard shit from him.
People just good question. Not throwing at him or throwing to him or walking him. What?
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really heard too much from him. I don't pay that close attention to the Reds here, not as much as I should anyway. But apparently, he might have. Maybe he's just come back down to earth and he's not hitting anything. Maybe his Chris Shelton days are over.
Oh, Big Red.
Yeah.
Can't ever forget him. It was Mr. April right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. April 2006.
MLB did a really good job with this. I guess one other thing that I'll say before we wrap this up, MLB did a really good job in pumping Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich. And those two guys, the National League, are having a couple of historic seasons. Yes, home run totals are up and all that. I understand that. But these are two guys that are competing for the Triple Crown in the same year in the same league, in the National League. So
I got to say,
them some credit.
Yelich is... I look at that fucking string bean motherfucker, and I'm like, how does he have the power he has?
Who's that guy from Saturday Night Live, the one that like pimps all of his mental health issues and dates singers?
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson.
He dated Kate Beckinsale.
That's who Christian Yelich looks like.
Thank you. Yes. He's got asshole eyes. He's got those eyes that are dark around him. Look like assholes. Yeah.
Every time I watch Christian Yelich, I'm thinking like Saturday Night Live sitting behind the desk on Weekend Update. And then every time I'm watching Saturday Night Live and he comes on, oh, it's Christian. Oh, no, it's not. Fuck. I've been wanting to tell somebody that forever. My girlfriend doesn't know who Christian Yelich is. so I can't tell. But yeah, I mean, he's really come on. How does he get that? I don't know. He plays in a good ballpark, conducive to hitting home runs and all that shit, but not like that. Something's changed with him. And I like the kid. He's easy to root for.
Well, I mean, but he doesn't have that like, just beautiful Ken Griffey Jr. swing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that. So it's just like, and I mean, we are in the post-steroid era. So anytime somebody just comes on like gangbusters, you know, the back of your mind, you hear that little devil on your shoulder go, HGH.
Trust me, I was thinking that, and I looked up his stats.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like
with Yelich, though, I mean, he's a string bean. It's not like
that's what I'm saying.
His head didn't grow 15 hat sizes like Bonds did. You really thought steroids with him?
No, I just said like, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, could it possibly? Is it a new type of steroid that MLB hasn't picked up on a way to catch him with yet?
He's a 300 career hitter, Rich. So no. Because
he's always been a good hitter.
That's the first thing I thought. And he's hitting 329 this year. He hit 326 last year. His worst season, he's hit 282, and that was 2017.
But there's a difference between a good hitter and a power hitter.
He was only hitting like 15, 18 home runs a year back then, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Even that many?
That's what I'm saying. You know, Ted Williams would hit 400, but Ted Williams wasn't fucking Babe Ruth.
Well, Lou Whitaker, in his early days, I'm older than you guys, so I can remember his early days, was hitting like 6 home runs a year. And all of a sudden, he made a change in his approach, in his swing, something, and he turned himself from like a slap hitter. It was even a bigger change, I think, with Whitaker than it is with Yelich back in the early 80s. So sometimes that happens. I mean, these guys are strong. They look, small and weak in comparison to these monsters playing next to them. But you go stand next to these guys, they're huge. So
they also have probably like 2%, 3% body fat, and the rest is muscle.
Yeah, right. And his secret, I guess, was he made a change in his stance, and that can make all the difference in the world. I mean, and he changed. He got out of Miami, and he's playing in a hitter's park now. So. A combination of things. Speaking of swings, have you seen Cody Bellinger? You look at this guy is like a freak. He's got such they call it a violent swing, but it's like he just winds up and just hurls the bat at the ball.
Like are we talking like Vladdy was?
Yeah, kind of.
Like back in his prime?
Yeah, in a different way, but kind of, almost like that wild. It's insane to watch him swing, and he makes solid contact a lot. I don't know how.
I mean, because Vladdy would just take swings at shit. You're like, what are you swinging at? Oh shit, he just got a hit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas someone like Suzuki had a beautiful swing, so it made sense when he made it when he connected and he got a hit. Yeah. And on top of that, he was half out the fucking box before the ball even left the bat. That was the beauty of that was the beauty of Ichiro. So
yeah, right. Didn't Vladdy, I think, hit one off the ground, like the pitch bounced?
Yes.
I think he got a base hit off of it.
Yes, it was. I remember that on like it's been on like one of those Sports Center like what the fuck moments or whatever, WTF moments, or maybe it was Best Damn Sports Show when that was still around. But yeah, it was like, wait, how did he hit fucking that? It bounced in front of him. This ain't cricket, motherfucker. What are you playing? All right, well, before
do you think Guerrero Jr. is juicing?
Nah, he's too fat.
It's huge.
I don't, I think you can get, you're going to run into some idiots in the minor leagues who are juicing, but I think you can kind of, they've done a really good job, I think, with the policing of that. I don't think eventually, I think that reflex, I understand it, and I feel it occasionally too, but that reflex, I think, is going to go away eventually. You're not hearing too much about that anymore.
Yeah, but you got to remember,
leagues.
You got to remember, we lived through the era where Fernando Vina was juicing.
Yeah.
And he was just a fucking light-hitting, second baseman for the Tigers. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck were you juicing for then? Like you weren't hitting shit. I mean,
I also made the determination, if you're juicing, for God's sake, do not wear the number 25.
Yeah.
Or Fernando Vina. Sorry, not Ferreira. Sorry, Fernando Vina. But all right,
so McGuire 25 too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but McGuire hit 25 or 49 in his rookie year, and the next year he came in, he looked completely if you look at his 84 Topps rookie card for the U.S. Olympic team, he looks damn near the same in 87.
Yeah.
But then in 88, it's like the motherfucker was like, oh, it's
I'm
like
Popeye.
That motherfucker ate your spinach, my spinach, everybody's spinach on top of fucking Jose Canseco's, steroids. And it's like, dude, his neck grew 5 sizes, like he couldn't wear a dress shirt anymore. Like, seriously, like that he bought in 87, he couldn't wear one in 88. He's like, nope, sorry. So, I mean, he had power. It was just, that's the fucked up thing. Like, I don't know, we've talked about this. I can't remember if you were on the show. Bonds was a lock for the Hall of Fame before he ever fucking stuck a needle in his ass or whatever the fuck he did, allegedly, whatever, Yeah. So this was just, dude, you damn near broke Babe Ruth's rookie home run record. Like you had solidified you were a power hitter to be feared in the league. Why would you start juicing and risk everything? But then, hey.
No, he wasn't risking anything.
Well, not at that
banned.
point.
It wasn't banned at that point. So why not?
Fair enough. I mean, because in Ball 4, Jim Bowden, who just passed, we talked about, him passing in the pregame show. In Ball 4, he said, greenies, they used to put them in the fucking coffee.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers, between innings, go in a dugout, get a coffee full of fucking, uppers, and come out, and that's how they played the game. It was just what it was. That's how the shit was done. So, I guess it was a different time. Because you gotta remember, for any younger listeners, if we do have them, in the 80s, there was no fucking internet. There was no ESPN reporting about every single thing about your favorite athlete. It was just literally stats, highlights, this is what he did. And that's all you had to go on, unless you were a beat reporter. And beat reporters back then kept their mouth shut about what they saw, unless it had something to do with literally what happened on the field. The ones that, the 86 Mets, it's kind of hard to keep that under wraps.
There's a whole bunch of them. Who's that? Perez, I forget his name. Oh, Jesus, I think he pitched for the Pirates.
His name's Vlad Guerrero. He's on cocaine.
Yeah, the greenies weren't enough. You needed the Coke too, huh? Okay.
When you got Howard Johnson blowing rails for your team in '86, you might be partying a little too hard, dude. What? 3 people from that fucking '86 championship team missed the parade because they overslept because they partied too hard doing coke for 3 days prior. Like, it was Strawberry, Gooden, and who else? I forget. But it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, how do you miss the parade? That's what coke is for, to keep you up. What, you're using it wrong. Seriously.
Good thing Darryl Strawberry never got in any of that.
Yeah, he always stayed 2 strawberry dongs away from cocaine. That's what he did.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Speaking of captain, he was like, "Oh, captain, my captain," of that shit.
That's why they remade "Strawberry Fields Forever" into "Strawberry Snorts Forever" song. Or what was it, Chris? Was it
Strawberry Deals
Forever?
Yeah, something like that. Oh.
The parody song. All right, this is my last question about baseball, but I want to bring this up because we all know that baseball changed rules as far as running into catchers at home plate, et cetera, et cetera. Jonathan Lucroy, he sustained a concussion, broken nose, in a game versus Angels versus Houston. I'm of the opinion, well, that's just good hard-nosed baseball. Apparently, like, there's people that are like, oh, this is the most horrible thing to happen to baseball since steroids.
What? It's part of the game.
And, well, I mean,
Not why the catcher has all that shit on, isn't that one of the reasons?
Joe Torre is the chief baseball officer of MLB, and he said he has reviewed the collision and the league office is having conversations about potential discipline. for that collision at the plate. It was Jake Marisnik.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Some of these names, oof, they're getting like hockey names. I need a pronunciation. Fucking, like seriously, can I just get Smith Bonds? Can I get that? Yeah. But yeah, apparently he lowered his shoulder into the catcher's jaw and attempted to score.
Well, was the catcher blocking the plate?
If he was, choo choo, motherfucker! Here comes the pain train. I mean, what the fuck do you want me to say?
You got to give him a path to the plate, and you
That's
can't
the
be
rule.
blocking the plate without the ball.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I the only reason these rules are in fucking place is Buster Posey. One of the golden children got fucking hurt.
Yes.
For decades and decades and decades. Some of the best, most photogenic plays. The best plays to watch were these collisions at the plate.
What was the infamous Pete Rose in the All-Star game?
Ray Fosse. Nobody changed any rules when poor Ray Fosse got hurt because he was an Indian. He wasn't a golden child. And Buster Posey loses an ankle. He's still playing. Ray Fosse's career was over. I mean, he was never the same after that. Oh, my God, we lose Buster Posey for a while. Let's change all the fucking rules. They did the same thing at second base.
No more hard slides to break up a double play.
Yeah, why didn't you just put a little Massengill ad on second base? That'd be great.
Well, when they have
sponsor home plate, maybe Tampax can sponsor home plate.
So you have Summers Eve at home plate, Massengill at second base.
Yeah, that's what they do during Mother's Day when they all wear pink. So
I don't mind the pink thing so much. My God, I think you know where I stand.
Well, it's just, baseball is not inherently there's going to be, that type of violent physical collision necessarily every game. Sport. It's not football. You don't expect it every play, but good hard-nosed baseball, I expect. And when you take that out of it, but yet you're crying at the same time about why are ratings down? Why can't we get people to watch the game? Why can't we get younger people to watch the game? Needs to be more offense. Let's change the rules to open up the game. Let's juice the ball. Whatever the fuck. I don't know. Stop taking out, the competitiveness. Don't we want to see two forces collide and whoever wants it more to come out victorious? Isn't that the point of fucking sports?
It's toxic masculinity,
Well,
Rich.
yeah, but see, that's why I also have a problem with robots calling strikes and balls.
Why?
I need that because I need that air. I need that human air.
No, you don't.
The fuck I do. I need to see manager because I need to see a manager come out.
Mistake.
That's right. And I wanted the manager to come out and I want to see him get in the face of the fucking umpire and go, "Are you fucking blind?" and get tossed out of the fucking game. I want to see that.
They can still do that with the base coaches.
I do miss that. Like you used to remember Sparky Anderson running out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tommy Lasorda. Are you kidding me?
Kicking dirt on motherfuckers.
Oh yeah. Earl Weaver. Yeah. Earl Weaver was the king of it. Billy Martin, I would say, was the prince.
I think Billy was the prince. Billy was the king and Earl was the prince. Billy got run so many. Yeah, he got run so many times.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, total, how many times they got the fucking gate? It was Bobby Ross got it the most.
Bobby Ross, the Lions
football coach.
Not Bobby Ross. Fucking coach of the fucking '90s Braves, Bobby Cox.
Oh, Bobby Cox. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ! I
missed the Ross era.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's all right.
Eat a dick, everybody. Yeah, that's Todd corrected me right there. They just enjoying the
Fast in the ambulance.
In the accoutrement, if you will. The one time I use a fucking $1 word from my 5-cent vocabulary, Todd fucking calls me on the carpet. Like,
it doesn't sound right coming from you.
Then you should really insult. It's a good thing you're not a musician because I say a bunch of terms that wouldn't make sense to you, and you'd be like, "Why are you pronouncing shit this way?"
Look, if we were discussing music, I would not presume to tell you that you know more. But I was just like, we're talking about sports and accoutrement. Oh, accoutrement.
Fucking cocksucker. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is
how
what
would you say that? How would you say that in French? Cocksucker.
The cocksucker? I don't know.
Cocksucker.
We pee wee wee sucker. I don't know. What the fuck?
Always say all the poo poo.
Well, we're making dick and shit jokes. It's about 3.5 hours in, so I say it's about time to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're getting a little slap happy here, I think.
Yeah, so it's
3 hours and 40 minutes.
Todd,
wow.
Enjoyable as always. I could listen to you talk about baseball for hours.
Oh, good. How long can you listen to me talk about women's soccer, though? That's the key question.
Hours as well, but only if you interject pictures of Alex Morgan in a two-piece. That's
That's all right. I'm going to explanation point this shit. The ESPYs happened. The best team.
Yeah, I saw this.
Was the U.S. women's soccer team.
Yeah, they were voted best team.
The best female athlete, Alex Morgan.
And we all know Boners voted her that. That's
was
mic drop.
Was athlete in quotes.
But yeah, never mind the Patriots or the Red Sox, the Astros, maybe even the Chiefs. The U.S. women's soccer team was the best team of the last year.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to point out. The U.S. men's soccer team won 0 ESPYs.
I also want to point out that Caitlyn Jenner was there, and I don't know why. What the fuck did
did she win? No, that was like 2 years ago. Didn't she win some kind of hero award or some dumb shit?
So stunning, so brave.
Bruce Jenner won an award.
Yeah. Oh shit! Here come the protest. Hashtag. Not my ESPYs.
You can direct those protests to @SporgyPodcast on Twitter. You can email them to sporgy@ChristopherMedia.net. If you made it to the end of this show, you're a fan.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you for listening. Shows, well, we try to do them every week. When football starts, it's definitely...
Oh, wait a minute. Just our fantasy football draft has been set. I got the notice, not from Chris personally, via email. So if you're trying to get in on our fantasy football, what would you call it? League? Yeah, or league. Yeah, I don't know. I was about to say pool.
Using the accoutrement, but you had to dig deep for league?
Is it football liégeois? Is it a liégeois?
Okay.
Liégeois.
Everybody can just suck my Royal Irish ass at this point, okay? Bunch of fucking faggots. Fuck you. All right.
It's fagos.
Hey, you're a bunch of cigarettes in fucking England. Fuck you.
No,
but no, if you
sticks.
I don't know. Whatever the fuck it is. Next thing you know, we'll be having to explain what niggardly means to people who are ignorant about it, and it just sounds too much like another word that they don't like. But anyways, do we have all 10 or 12 spaces filled, or do we have room for it?
As of now, I just renewed it last week. I'm gonna go in and fuck with it. I'll probably try to recruit more people. Try to run a couple leagues this year, but we'll see.
Hey, Todd,
I don't think I got my email.
It doesn't take any effort. Trust me. I don't know dick about fantasy football, and I've lost constantly.
No way
Jesus. In hell. God damn it.
No way in hell.
I just want to be able to talk shit when we both lost. It's like, how do you both lose? How does that happen? Rich and Todd played each other this week, and they both lost. How the fuck does that happen?
There have been ties before.
Yes, there have.
Yeah, so we'll get the ball rolling on the fantasy football stuff. But yeah, check us out on Thursdays. We are on Spotify, Spreaker.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or ChristopherMedia.net.
What is this? Podcatchers now is whatever broadcast a podcast. They're called podcatchers now.
I just found that word myself a few weeks ago, and I oh, wait a minute. All these fucking things are out there. I started finding them and searching myself on them, and I'm there.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't have to do a goddamn thing.
Yeah, because a lot of them just
find you.
Search our RSS feeds and pick them up. Yeah, there's shit we're on that I know I didn't register us for, but hey, fuck it. If you can find us there, listen.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you enjoyed Le Coutrement and Chagos and all that happy horse shit, Chris and Rich are going to join me on the Escaping the Cave podcast. What, next week, guys?
Hopefully, if everything goes well. Next couple of weeks, definitely.
So we're not quite as congenial on my podcast as we are on this one. Sorry if you're looking for the politically correct content you found this evening. You won't find that over my podcast. Also, ChristopherMedia.net and your favorite podcasters, escapingthecave.com.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that, guys. I got a lot of good stuff.
Me too. Outstanding.
But anyways, everybody, thanks for listening.
Therapy session.
Thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks for Todd for being on.
Yes. Enjoyable as always. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later, guys.
Peace out, y'all.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Dunkin' is here to help keep you up and running, Philadelphia, with a free medium hot coffee Monday through Friday, once a week for members only. So grab a cup of the new Explorer batch with smoky dark berry notes that's an adventure in every sip. Or give a try to the new Dunkin' Midnight, a richer, intensely dark roast with hints of chocolate. Get one free medium hot coffee once a week, Monday through Friday for members. Join the Dunkin' app today. America runs on Dunkin'. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer valid through January 29th.
New Extra Charge Hot and Iced Coffee from Dunkin' is made with 20% extra caffeine from green coffee extract, because we could all use a little extra this year. Whether that's an extra boost, some extra boldness, or the drive to go the extra mile, we're extra ready for whatever comes our way and extra excited to take it on. Let's get it done with a medium extra charged coffee from Dunkin' for $2 with 20% more caffeine. And pair it with snackable stuffed bagel minis for an added all-day boost. Order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.